I think every single person in this locker room is a competitor at the highest level. So, yeah, when you feel as if your backs are against the wall, you never have to feel like you got to do it by yourself.
Unbelievable throw. Under pressure, sacked by Quentin Williams. Right sideline, Usama's got it.
You look to your left and your right, you got guys out there with you that our whole point is to help each other.
This one to Mims. That's Corey Davis climbing the ladder.
To be able to go out and lead these guys, just to know how hard these guys work and how important it is to them, and then you get that chance to lead them. Everything that happened that needed to happen for us, it almost felt like kind of like a sign, like get like a second chance almost.
Gets extra pushes, running left.
Maybe a little extra life breathing in the locker room.
Touchdown Jets.
Welcome to the cockpit. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your pilot tonight. I am joined alongside my lovely co-pilot, Mr. Shay. Miss Shay. She has a bow, but it's more of a bow tie today. You'll have to let me know if you could hear the little keys of her playing the piano, because if not, I'll try to lower the volume. But we are going to be watching the Pat McAfee show. Going to discuss some stuff, talk some free agent topics. Keep it on while some stuff's going on. So you guys can tune into that. If you go to Pat McAfee show on YouTube, it's free to watch. You just click on that. It's starting in 40 seconds. So we're good to go. So we're going to talk a whole lot of Jets stuff. Jets are negotiating with Alan Lazard, as well as potentially having Randall Cobb on the radar, according to Schefter. And this feels more like a report of like Schefter, assuming Cobb's going to be on the radar because he's already not getting the scoops from Aaron Rodgers. So I think that's probably what's going on here. But I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully we get something here. Now I don't know. Aaron Rodgers is not supposed to be on Pat McAfee at all today. At least as far as we know. Maybe there's a surprise announcement. If there were one way for Aaron Rodgers to break the news of like him going to a place, I feel like with AJ Hawk and McAfee, I feel like he would enjoy that. Kind of stick it to the mainstream beat as far as Rappaport and Schefter. But we'll see how it all plays out. Number 1, Volo fan. Let me see if I'll put that. You know what? Let me get rid of the Trey Wingo thing. I'll put the comments down here tonight. All right, I'm going to turn this down. Let me know if the volume's too loud on any of my stuff, if it's irritating or anything like that. All right, number 1, Volo fan says, crazy. For the first time in my life, the Jets have a possibility of competing for a Super Bowl, which will be disrupted by World War III, Murphy's Law of being a Jet fan. Yeah, there's going to be some sort of weird, uncontrollable situation where the Jets, the league's just going to go into some weird lockout or something stupid like that. Keanu, welcome to the channel. Always appreciated. They have all the offensive linemen up. Or actually, I guess all the free agent stuff. Stidham got 2 years, 10. Singleton, linebacker, 3 years, 18. Ben Powers, 4 years, 52. McGlinchey, 5 years, 87.5 is what they're showing on McAfee right now. I love it. Percy says, Garrett Wilson with Lazard and Cobb would be sick. Yeah, that would be really cool. And there's rumors that maybe Elijah Moore may be involved in some kind of a trade. We'll wind up seeing where that all shakes out. Whether that be for Rodgers or in some other type of trade. I heard Cleveland might be interested in him. What do you value him at? Maybe a second-round pick? That's kind of where I'm putting his value at. Mojo, I don't think he's too thrilled with this. This franchise has bent over for one guy. That one guy happens to be one of the greatest football players of all time, and at the one position that we desperately need. Pierre, I love how she keeps looking back, checking up on you. She likes watching Dad on the TV. I think she likes seeing herself. You want to come up? All right, come here. Let's see what's going on. It's supposed to be a bow for your head, not like a bow tie, but that's fine. We can wear it as a bow tie. Totally fine. Ah, Jet Boyer becoming a member of the channel. Hell yeah. Thank you for joining, brother. If you guys would like to join the channel, there's a pinned comment in the live chat. You get some cool emojis if you wind up doing that. Christopher Long comes in. Does Lazard and Cobb mean no Thielen? I don't know. I feel like Lazard to me would replace either Corey Davis or Denzel Mims. Now, Lazard doesn't have the speed of Mims, so that's why I still think Mims has a role on this team. Corey Davis, because of the $10.5 million, that seems like the easiest one to move off of. So I definitely think he's gone. With Thielen, I could see a situation where Elijah Moore is traded because Rodgers doesn't want to put up with the me-first attitude of Elijah Moore, and he may want guys that are all bought in. So I could see a situation where if the Jets feel like they are not really interested in extending Elijah Moore beyond his rookie contract, he has 2 years left on his deal. If Rodgers says he wants Thielen for 2 years, Lazard for 2 years, and Cobb for 2 years, sorry, Elijah Moore, you're out the door. Like, I have no problem with using him in some sort of trade if it helps us keep maybe another pick that could be here for another 4 years. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing Elijah Moore. I'm hoping he stays on the Jets. But I could see a situation where Thielen comes in and also plays slot with Cobb. I just think Elijah Moore is so great at route running. It would be a real shame not to see him with Aaron Rodgers. What do you think? Yeah, I think so too. Mr. Flashy drops in with a super chat. Says, Ryan, I just woke up. What have I missed? Tell me. So the Jets are negotiating with Alan Lazard, which, you know, those little breadcrumbs could mean that Aaron Rodgers is on his way. I would imagine Alan Lazard, who wants to play with Aaron Rodgers, would not be attempting to sign with the New York Jets otherwise. Maybe it's a situation where Aaron Rodgers wants Lazard to do what's best for him, make the most amount of money possible from the New York Jets, because he is a good option at wide receiver regardless if Aaron Rodgers is here or not. So maybe there's a situation where Rodgers is like, I'm not going to announce until we know we have you locked in, because then the Jets have leverage of saying, oh, well, we have Aaron Rodgers if you want to play with him. Maybe he's given some leverage to Lazard. Now, his over-the-cap valuation and his spot track market value has been put at like $12.5 million. I'm hoping we can get him for the $10.5 that we replaced Corey Davis with. That's the hope here. Brian Bogan drops in and says, if we sign Aaron Rodgers soon, remember you're holding a baby. I know. If that happens, Shay, you're going back down over there. Daddy's going to be as calm as possible for like a second and a half. Are you okay? Or if I like throw you up in the air, you got to catch the fan. So as long as you grab onto the fan, I'll catch you on the way down. Does that sound good? Okay, maybe not. We'll figure out something. We got this, kid. Mr. Uglis says, don't accidentally throw the baby when you pop for Rodgers. I know, pure panic. Chris Romaine dropping in his first super chat. Thank you, dude. Says, is it just me, or Lazard and Cobb news is basically saying this is a done deal? Yeah, that's exactly what everyone else is feeling like. Like it feels as done as possible without getting the confirmation of all the different, people. Oh, see, Becca wants me to fix Shay's bow. Well, see, no, this is a bow tie. We want to wear it as a bow tie, Mom. Sorry. You can grab her and take the bow. Look, there's a lot of excitement here. I think it's a done deal. I would be shocked if it went any other direction at this point, but I'm afraid to count my chickens because I know what happens when you count your chickens. William, Brian, happy Aaron Rodgers Day. I can feel it. I hope so. The other thing is, like, I saw Garofalo talking about that March 17th deadline. Maybe the information I got was wrong, but I was told the option is assumed to be exercised. It's not $60 million, because the Packers would be $1 zillion over the cap if that number is already $60 million. I don't think that's the holdup here, where Aaron Rodgers has a clause in his contract where he's got to exercise an option, or the team has to exercise an option between March 17th and Week 1. So, like, just using logic, there's no way the Packers could. They're not getting hit with a $60 million dead cap hit. It makes more sense that it's already assumed that option is exercised, so that way you can give more money to other players in free agency. The NFLPA would 100% prefer that. I'm sure the owners would want that. So that just seems like it makes the most damn sense. As far as... Yeah? Sorry. Yeah, hopefully it happens today. That's my fingers crossed. Who's more nervous right now, you or the baby? Ah, she's good. She wants Aaron Rodgers too. Becca is not a fan of the bow being down. Yeah, where's my beautiful wife? Look at her. Can you fix her bow? I can fix her bow. Will I fix her bow? Nope. It's a bow tie. That's how we want to dress today. J. Cole, count my chickens. I'll count your chickens. Shay is watching McAfee. Hope CC is turned off. Yeah, I don't think she's going to be understanding any words anytime soon. Ah, Brian becomes the newest member of the channel. Yeah, thanks, Brian. Much appreciated. You get some cool JETS emojis in the chat. Guys, make sure you drop some JETS in there for our newest member. And don't forget to
Can't wait.
hit that like button. Oh, that was the wrong one. There it is. Hit it. Hit it. Aaron Rodgers thinks Adam Schefter.
Guy's an idiot.
Guy's an idiot. Brandon drops in with $1 super chat. Thank you, Brandon. I didn't see a comment associated with it, so if I see it in the chat, I'll throw it up on the screen. But thank you all the same. Let's see. Raw Furry. That sounds ridiculous of a name. What's the next piece or priority if we land Rodgers today? I think it's definitely the wide receiver. I think it's getting Lazard or Thielen or Cobb or some combination of those. I still would like to get a veteran center. That would be my preference. I don't want to roll into the season with a rookie center. I like the idea of drafting a center in like the 3rd or 4th round, letting him sit on the backup role for a little bit, kind of fill in as a potential emergency guard for Tomlinson if he winds up stinking. Yeah. And then as a backup center, then he gets some time to learn. We don't throw him into the fire. I think that's what Joe Douglas has kind of shown he wants to do, give guys a little bit of a chance to build up their confidence and learn in the NFL. And then you also get to have that center work with Zach Wilson behind the scenes. So that's also like kind of another perk to having that. But I like the veteran center option. For debate, says your little princess is adorable. Thank you. She's amazing. Hank G, after Shay's watched the McAfee show, her first words will be F Boston. F Boston Connor. I love it. Hope so. I'd laugh. Regular TV guy, or regular guy TV. Thank you for subscribing. Welcome aboard. I'll be your pilot. Kai Young Joe has some great names. Jake Brendel, the center from the 49ers, and Ben Jones, the center from the Titans. Ben Jones feels like the most likely because we have his former offensive line coach here. But I like Brendel. Brendel's a little younger, too, if I'm not mistaken. Chris Krug, what's up, dude? Says, good afternoon, Ryan. Does Trey Wingo know something other NFL insiders don't know yet? Yes, I think that is entirely possible. You guys know the news dropped yesterday from Trey Wingo that Aaron Rodgers, New York Jets deal is done. Time is a flat circle, whatever. I think he definitely knows. He's been dialed into the Aaron Rodgers stuff ever since last year when he said if they bring back Cobb, they'll be able to re-sign Aaron Rodgers. So I think there's a high likelihood that Wingo is correct on that. He's also the one that broke the oh, that's a microphone. You don't want to grab that. I think there's also, Trey Wingo was the one that broke that the Jets were flying out to see Aaron Rodgers. I think Rodgers is feeding him all that information just to, piss off Schefter and Rappaport. So I do think he knows something that's going on. V-Man says, thoughts on the center from Ohio State, Luke Weipler. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Luke Weipler. He's either the 2nd or 3rd best center in the draft is what I've kind of seen him ranked as. And if you think that you can get him in the 2nd or 3rd round, I mean, I have a gut feeling the Jets are trading the 2nd round pick for Aaron Rodgers. So maybe there's a situation where you somehow get another 2nd round pick, whether it's trade down or trade a player or Maybe he falls to the third round. But yeah, I like him. Luke Weipler's the Jet fan from Ohio State. So you pair him up with the Jet fan and Jeremy Ruckert from Ohio State and the current Jet wide receiver, Garrett Wilson from Ohio State, and you get the Ohio State team over here. That'd be pretty cool. I'm a fan of it. Anytime that need and skill match up, well with players across the board, and one of those guys winds up being a Jet fan, I love the idea of adding, a Jet fan, because I think that guy's going to give you so much. He's going to give you that little extra juice. It might be an extra 1% than the other guy would have done, but maybe, he appreciates it more, and I think he's more likely to want to stay on the Jets long term than maybe someone who may have been a fan of another team growing up. Obviously money talks, but all things considered, I like Luke Weipler a lot. I think that would be a really nice pickup or draft pick. Pat was smirking the entire time talking about Rodgers. He knows. I think everyone knows at this point. That's what it feels like. Chris Romaine says, my buddy that's a Packers fan is already looking at Jet season tickets just to watch A-Rod play. That's awesome. I think we're going to get... What's cool about bringing in someone like Aaron Rodgers is you're going to get a bunch of new Jet fans that were fans of the Packers that can feel like they are totally fine rooting for the Jets because they're in the opposite conference. So it's good for the NFL. It's good for the New York Jets. It's fun for Aaron Rodgers and jersey sales and things like that. I love the idea of having some Packer fans into the channel. I know we've seen a bunch over the last few days hop in and give their opinions on the Rodgers stuff. So I really like this. Here's one. Brandy. Brandy says, as a Packers fan, thanks for the comp picks next year for Rodgers. Lazard and Cobb, best wishes in the Rodgers ordeal. So you won't get any comp picks for Rodgers because he'd be traded. You wouldn't get a comp pick for Randall Cobb because he's on a voided contract. So when you only get comp picks for players who have expiring contracts. So since Lazard is on an expiring contract, that could be a comp pick, but Cobb and Rodgers would not. But it also depends on how many free agents you bring in. So if you wind up bringing in any guys that were not cut from their teams, then it's going to count against your comp pick formula. I'm sure you guys have some more players than just that, but Lazard of those three would be the only one that would count towards the comp pick formula. Ryan Lotan says, I would like to bring in Orlando Brown as well so we could go into the draft with best player available approach. I don't think the top 3 tackles last until pick 13. Yeah, I'm not sure what to think. I think the Titans are definitely going to take one. I feel like the Bears should be in play. I like Orlando Brown. That's just a lot of money to devote to a tackle that, I feel like we might be better off just taking one at 13. I like the best player available approach. I do think if we don't address tackle in some capacity now, we're probably telegraphing that pick a little bit more than we may otherwise want. But who knows? I think Joe Douglas is going to go best player available regardless. I mean, look, we didn't really feel like we needed corner super high last year, and we wound up taking Sauce with the 4 pick. So I could see that. What's up, kid? You want to play on your piano? All right, you can play on your piano. No. You good? We might capture her first crawling on tape. What's up? All right, we'll see how that goes. You want to come on or you want to be back there? Sorry about that. Oh, boy. Chris Krug becomes a member of the channel. Yeah! I love it. What do you think, Shay? We like Chris. Chris is a good dude. Yeah, but Ryan, I love the best player available approach. I'm a big fan of that. Code East says, as a Packers fan from New York, I'll definitely be watching Rodgers with the Jets if it happens. I'll always be a Packers fan, but I'd love to see how the Jets do. Rodgers and Wilson will probably be amazing. Yeah, there's no ill feelings towards Packer fans, in the Jet neighborhood either. It's just kind of like, when we verse you, we're against you. But I'm excited. I want to see you guys root for us as well. Brandy comes in and says, Lazard was picked from the Jags practice squad. Yeah, but if he signs a good contract with us, you could get a nice little comp pick there. Kwong Lu drops in and says, imagine Thielen, Cobb, Wilson, and Lazard. I think that could definitely happen. I think it's possible. You tired? Just laying on the floor? I think it's definitely possible. I think you could see, possibly Elijah Moore get swapped for a draft pick. Yeah? You gonna roll around on the floor? I would love to see it, though. Cafe, by the way, thank you for the super chat, dude. He says, hey, dude, awesome stuff as always. What are your thoughts on Namath maybe allowing Aaron to wear number 12? I don't like it so much as I think history is important, but who knows? So I'm of the opinion that I would love to see Rodgers wear number 12. I think it's a fun ceremony we could do. We always talk about that curse of the Namath, number 12, and he sold his soul to get that Super Bowl ring. So I would love to see him wear it, and like the Jets make a big deal about it and do it on like Hard Knocks, have like this whole, experience, or do it during week 1 of the, home opener or something like that. All right, come on. You're back on, kid. Once mom's done working, then she'll come grab you. Yeah? You have something to say? Yeah, but I can understand people wanting Rodgers to not take Namath's number. And based on the conversation that Rodgers had with Brandon Marshall the other day at the flag football game, Rodgers alluded to, you can't be an all-time great, if you're only going to play one season. Guys have been there. They built up the, there's other guys that built up that team, like the Jets. Yeah? So I think he is going to not take number 12 out of respect for Namath, saying he helped build the Jets, not him, and he'll, pick his old number 8 from college. Right? I think Rodgers wears number 8. I would love to see him wear 15. That'd be cool, because then we can make a bunch of, AR-15 jokes, things of that nature. Let's see. What else we got going on? Whoa! You see yourself? All right, give me 1 second. Let me go walk her over to Becca real quick, because we are very, very excited. All right. Sorry about that. Yeah, the whole Aaron Rodgers wearing number 12. I would prefer the. I would like to see him wear 12, but I don't think he's going to take it. Brian says they'll announce his number ASAP for the jersey sales. Yeah, that's true. It'd be so cool to see 12 though. There's I would love to see them bring back the old retro whites with Namath handing over the jersey, and then it says Rodgers on the back, in a little gift. I would really like to see that. Let's see what else we got in here. Pierre Thomas says, if A-Rod chooses to wear number 12, they'll have to do some sort of ceremony passing the torch type thing. Yeah, I would love to see that. There's just a lot of fun things that could happen with it, because Jet fans are superstitious already. I mean, sports fans in general are superstitious. So if you have the ability to lift the curse of number 12, Aaron Rodgers with a loaded team, that's the time you want to do it. So Randy says Elijah needs to go ASAP. He's annoying. Yeah, I wonder where you guys fall on the Elijah Moore stuff. You know what? Let me I'm going to change the poll question. So in the poll question, it was how would you grade an Alan Lazard signing in terms of stars? So the 4-star option is the winner with 49%, 28% with the 5-star. So it seems like most people would be on board with that signing. Let's see. Let's add another poll question. And let's say, would you trade Elijah Moore? Just curious to see what you guys, how you guys feel. So that's going to be poll question in the chat. We'll talk about that. Phil Adams, we're on autopilot. I gotta make like a little frame or something like that. So when I do have to do something like that, I can hit, be right back on autopilot. I just haven't done that yet. I actually have a pizza cooking downstairs, which I should probably get. I think it's done. Nice thing about the air fryer though, it turns itself off. So I know it's not getting burnt. It's just cooling down. Right? Air fryer might be one of the best things. Daniel Denny, when does the show start? Pat McAfee is on right now. Go to YouTube, type in Pat McAfee show. It's a live stream that they're doing. So they're just talking some football. So you can head over that way. And we're just watching here. We're discussing Jets free agent topics as well as keeping our ear on the Pat McAfee show. Bino says he's going to wear number 12 and break the effing curse. I hope so. I think that would be a lot of fun to see. The Badger Trio drops in again, says, I heard A-Rod and the Jets talked last 24 hours. I feel he told them he's coming, which is why we got the Lazard and Cobb news. Yeah, I think the Jets are in the circle, and I think there's a really good chance that he told the Jets brass, like, hey, I'm going to come to you, but you can't break the news. Like, I'm going to break it my way. You got a deal? And we're like, all right, cool. And then Joe Douglas, Robert Saleh, Woody Johnson keep it on the lock because they know how important it is for Aaron Rodgers to kind of spurn some of the media. Because we haven't heard any reporting from our own beat that, the Jets are any closer to a trade. It's just like, oh, holding formation. We're not sure. It's great. Love seeing it. Let's see. More with Rodgers throwing to him and Cobb mentoring would be S tier. Yeah, I would like to see Elijah Moore stay here. I prefer to have the good talent here for the next 2 years. I could just see a situation where, Rodgers just doesn't want to put up with Elijah Moore for the next 2 years. And if the Jets feel they're not going to extend him beyond those 2 years that he has remaining on his contract, and we want to go all in for a Super Bowl, if Rodgers says, hey, I want Thielen, I want Lazard, I want whatever, you may end up doing that. But I would like to see Moore stay. I think more of his issue was Mike White and Zach Wilson. And now that those are complete variables pulled out of the equation, I think there's a lot more upside to Elijah Moore and hopefully some maturity over the past year, maybe a little guidance from someone like Randall Cobb or an Alan Lazard might humble him a little bit. I'd like to see that. Now, I know he's going to be chomping at the bit trying to get that big contract. That's kind of where I see it. I would love to see him play out his deal because I think he can get a contract after playing with Rodgers for 2 years. Then you get a comp pick, right? I'd rather take a comp pick for Elijah Moore in like 3 years from now than trade him for a second right now. Unless he's like totally an ass and they want to get rid of him anyway. Brian says, get an inflatable pilot like the movie Airplane. I can get something like that. I probably won't do a fake pilot, but I'll do a fake, maybe I'll do like a cockpit with no pilot there. It's just like Blink's autopilot or something. I'll figure out something. Tigo says, if you guys aren't following Micah Parsons on Twitter, you are missing out. Dude is a comedian on Twitter. Ooh, I don't follow him. That would be cool. Aaron messed up. Off Rodgers topic. Do we think Elijah Vera Tucker is healthy to start the season? Yeah, I think he will be. It seems like everyone was progressing ahead of schedule, like Breece Hall and AVT. So I'm looking forward to it. I would like to draft a center guard that could like assist at all the interior offensive line positions. I do think the Jets are going to try and bring back Nate Herbig as well. He was a nice little addition last year. Can play guard. I'd be a fan of that move. Let's see. Ooh, this is a good one. David D says, if Aaron Rodgers signs with the Jets, how many primetime games do we get? I think the Broncos, when they signed Russell Wilson, I think they got 5 or 6 primetime games, and I think that was similar to the Packers, too. I think the Packers had 5 or 6 last year. I would bet we get at least 4, but I think we get 5 plus Hard Knocks. Like, it's going to be a media whirlwind if Rodgers signs here. If that ultimately ends up happening, that would be friggin' awesome. It's going to be a lot of fun to be a Jet fan this summer and season. I don't think I've been this excited in quite some time. Jesse P says, cut more, get OBJ. No. I don't want to do that. OBJ, I don't trust to stay healthy. Elijah Moore, I do trust to stay healthy. And then, he's got so much upside. Like, even the little bit of personality conflicts that you have, I don't want to see Moore go. Kevin S. says, get a blow-up doll. I didn't say I didn't have one. Tony G likes Herbie. I'm a fan of that. Gregory says, how likely do the Jets end up on Hard Knocks? I think there is no way the Jets don't get Hard Knocks. I mean, unless Rodgers has any say in the decision and says there's no way we're going to do it. I think Rodgers probably may not want to do it, but I would think the Jets and the NFL in general know the Jets are the biggest talking point in the NFL this year. The other option, maybe they go to the Bears and they see the Justin Fields side of things, but I don't think it's nearly as exciting as the Jets. Especially we have 2 Hall of Famers going in. Like, they can start it's a huge, huge deal. You got the Zach Wilson narrative. There's way too many storylines for the New York Jets to not get Hard Knocks. If you could bet on who's going to get Hard Knocks, I would throw money on the Jets getting it. Ray says, good morning, afternoon, Ryan and chat. Glad to have you in here. Humble Beast says, I feel like getting Cobb is the dumbest decision. As long as he's in a backup capacity and he's had for $2 million, I don't mind it. But I'm kind of on that same wavelength of maybe being a little underwhelmed by having the thought of bringing in Cobb because he is so much older. This is definitely more of a culture fit and a Aaron Rodgers fit. Like, he wants to be able to not say things and he wants to have his receivers do what he wants them to do. And if you want to build the offense around Aaron Rodgers, I'm just happy to have him. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. If he's the backup slot to Elijah Moore or Adam Thielen in the event Moore gets traded, I'm all about it. I'm fine with Cobb. Vinda Chin says, after that whole Elijah fake Twitter account insanity, he needs to go. Guy is out of his mind. That has some high school bullshit. Yeah, I don't like the whole burner account thing. I don't know if we know if that's 100% true. Was there any validity in that? I know for those of you guys that don't know, Elijah Moore had some type of other Twitter that he was always that Twitter account always liked posts associated with Elijah Moore, things of that nature. So it feels like it's either Elijah Moore or someone that's trying to make him look better, like a family member. I don't know. I would think it would be more likely that it's a family member than it is a, anything else. What happened? I think my Pat McAfee show turned off. Oh, there we go. I must have clicked something. So many things going on. I got my TV up here. I've got my Pat McAfee right there. We're streaming right here. I'm probably going to destroy all my my internet. That's all right. Justin Thomas becomes a member. Yeah, Justin. Thank you so much for joining the membership. You got some cool emojis, guys. Drop some JETS in the chat for our newest member, Justin. Rob V says, dude, give them Corey Davis or Mims. Got to keep Elijah at least one more year. Yeah, I feel like Lazard could almost be the a replacement for either Davis or Mims. Like, Mims is pretty good at blocking. Corey Davis is good at blocking. I think that's the value that Lazard provides. He's a bigger-bodied receiver, so I like that more than Corey Davis. Mims just has such fast speed that I struggle to think that there's a replacement for him currently on the roster right now. But yeah, I don't think the Jets are going to plan to re-sign Mims after this year anyway. But I would like to see him play in a contract year. I feel like that in a new offense would be a lot more exciting. And then I think you have a high likelihood of getting a comp pick for him if he balls out. I'd like to see Mims stay. Maria says, ask Green Bean about David Stein. Yes, that's the burner. Can't believe you don't know about this. No, I do know about it. I'm aware of it. I just didn't know what the name was. I don't know if it's actually Elijah Moore, though. That's more so my thing. I know when I did my research on it, I didn't make a video because I wasn't 100% sure that was kind of what was going on. I feel like it could be a family member more than anything. But yeah, it seems like a Manish Mehta situation, Eric. That was a goofy situation with the Adam Gase burner. So glad that guy's not here anymore. Randy drops in and says, Mims will be great if he gets a quarterback. I'm a Mims guy. Yeah, dude, I was so excited when we drafted Mims. I'd be really upset if we don't at least see some of it through. I feel like a lot of the issues with Mims last year had more to do with LaFleur and the quarterback situation and just having, like, you know, not really a space to play. Joshua, I've been watching this channel since it started, and Ryan still does the choo-choo sound. Is that what you're talking about? I think so. That's something that I did in high school, too, or in college, too. It was like the sound effect that wound up. It's like, oh, there's a squirrel on the roof. Stupid stuff. I make a lot of sounds with my mouth. Whatever. Justin Thomas says, Myers got $11 million a year. Lazard won't get that. That would be nice. If he gets less than $10 million and he wants to buy into the, like, hey, I want a ring. I want to play with Rodgers the whole time. He's going to continue to last in this league a lot longer by, you know, not gouging teams for money. And I think teams will look at him as more of a team guy. I had always thought that Lazard would want to go for the money this year because he hasn't been paid yet. So it would be a little surprising for me. Rob V says, I figured Jacoby would get at least 15 to 18 a year considering how the wide receiver market's set up for Kirk last year. Yeah, I'm a little surprised with the lack of monster contracts that we've seen so far. It seems like the linebacker class and I guess it's really just the linebacker class that's like really exciting. The running back class is pretty good, but I don't think they're going to get massive money. Yeah, but, you know, this is kind of what I'm saying too. Big target, A-Rod, going to make Mims a lot of money somewhere next year. And I like that idea. I like the idea of Mims balling out and him leaving and us getting a comp pick. We got to start having stuff like that. Ooh, Elijah Moore just tweeted something cryptic. All right, let's see what did Elijah Moore tweet. All right, Elijah Moore tweeted, thankful for things I didn't get. Life be flowing, and it shows me how many times I thought I really wanted something or really wanted to do X, Y, Z, and it didn't go through. It didn't go through how I foresaw it. No better teacher than time and experience, I swear. And then, what was the other thing? So it looks like he had a crossed fingers emoji yesterday. So that seems to be implying Aaron Rodgers. But maybe this cryptic tweet is something here. I don't know. What do you guys think it is? Thankful for things I didn't get. Life be flowing, and it shows me how many times I thought I really wanted something or really wanted to do XYZ and it didn't go through with how I foresaw it. No better teacher than time and experience, I swear. That tells me that's more of a maturity post. I don't know if that means he thinks he's getting traded. I think it's possible. They may have approached him. Guys are saying he's gone. He's going to get traded. I think it's possible. I would think Elijah Moore is worth a second-round pick. That would be my guess. All right, let's put Elijah Moore on trade block with a little question mark. We'll see if that winds up happening. All right. Let's see. Yeah, you guys are thinking he's going to wind up getting traded. I'm going to step away for 1 second. I'm just going to grab my pizza from downstairs. I'm getting hungry. I made some stuffed crust, like DiGiorno pizza. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Love me making pizzas. It's great. All right. James Alba. He's happy he didn't go through with the trade request after dealing with quarterbacks last year. He now gets to play with Rodgers, and things are looking up. Having to do with Elijah Moore. That would be cool. Matthew says 133 over 3 years fully guaranteed, but I need an agent. Lamar Jackson. Interesting. So that's what Lamar's saying? I think that's DiGiorno's pizza. Or Hungry Man or something like that. Stuffed crust. Delicious. Leo says we almost crashed. We were on autopilot. So Scott says he agrees. He thinks it's because Elijah Moore is not getting traded. He's happy. Wingo just doubled down on his tweet. Let's see what he said. Okay, so Dan Graziano tweeted, "This is absolutely true. However, there is no equivalent tweet to explain a 2023 pursuit of Randall Cobb. There can be only one reason for that, and that's Trey Wingo pointing down, doubling down." I love it. I like watching Wingo's tweets pop up. What else he's talking about? I'm pumped. I'm excited. Oscar says, "The Messiah Wingo has spoken." The show says Elijah Moore just retweeted on his own post that it wasn't about football. Oh, okay, good. I'm glad. I'd like to see him stay. Charles, not gonna lie, Ryan, that pizza looks delicious. It is. 18 minutes in the air fryer. It's not it's no replacement for actual pizza, but as far as like frozen pizzas go, that's one of the better ones I've found. Cobb, short-term solution. If Moore is traded, we draft Josh Downs or get Hunter Renfrow as a slot since Raiders got Jacoby. Well, Renfrow is under contract, I think, so you'd have to trade for him. I don't think that happens. Josh Downs, I'd have to do some research on him. I don't actually know a whole lot about him. Cobb as a short-term option. You know, I'd like to see Cobb and Moore. I love the idea of getting Thielen, but I just don't know how he fits into all this. Like, I feel like if you want to get Thielen, Lazard, and Cobb, you got to get rid of Elijah Moore and Corey Davis. I don't know how you keep all of them. Ooh, DJ Bienemy giving us some Jet fan love. I didn't see that. You have to take a look. Vinny says, "Can Thielen or Lazard be possession wide receivers? We haven't had one since since Quincy Enunwa. Moore is a slot." So, yeah, I think so. I think Lazard could provide that. I think Thielen could provide that too. Like, neither one of those guys is like blazing fast. Thielen's going to probably operate more out of the slot if you were to bring him in, where Lazard would be on the outside. They do like having, not they, but the NFL does like having a bigger bodied slot wide receiver that can kind of body up on linebackers and stuff. So I think Lazard and Thielen, I think you could see it like Wilson on one side, Lazard on the other, Thielen in the slot with Cobb in the slot. Like, I could see that wide receiver room working. I just want to find room for Elijah Moore. I don't want to see him go. I would be upset. I think he's got a ton of potential, and I feel like we'd be wasting it if we just sent him away. I feel like we'd be selling low at that point. Gohan Angered says, "Jalen Hyatt is a better wide receiver than Moore. Rather us trade Moore and draft Hyatt." Yeah, but Hyatt's going to go in like the second round, and we probably won't have a second round pick. I mean, if you want to trade Elijah Moore and just like if you get a second for Elijah Moore and you draft Hyatt, so be it. I'm cool with that. But I'd like to see Elijah Moore with Aaron Rodgers. I think that would be fun. Brandy says, "Cobb finds a way to beat coverage on 3rd and long when against the Bears. Hopefully he does this versus the Pats equals contract validated." Yeah, I completely agree. If you can get Cobb for $2 million and he provides you a stable 3rd down wide receiver that is always past the sticks that Aaron Rodgers trusts, I mean, who cares? If Cobb only comes in on 3rd downs, perfect, worth the $2 million. Getting first downs, 100%. Dan says, "Elijah confirmed his tweet is not about football. Like I said, he's just an emotional dude in the feels." That's all right. That's cool. I'm glad. Maria says, "I'm overrating Elijah Moore, Ryan." Am I? I mean, we've only seen him with Zach Wilson. I think you put Aaron Rodgers back there. I think Elijah Moore's going to cook. Gohan wants to trade down from pick 13. I do like trading down from pick 13. I am a fan of that. The Bills clearing cap space. Do you think they're going for OBJ? They're definitely going to try and go for win now players. I don't know if Odell is the one they wind up bringing in. I don't know. I'm not sure who they. I feel like they'd want to bring back more of their own players and try to retain them. I don't know enough about the Bills' free agents and who they could possibly be looking at. I think they need a running back. So like someone like a Kareem Hunt or trading for Derrick Henry. That would be exciting. Rob V says Elijah should have had every single touch Berrios had last year. Yeah, that's my biggest gripe with Berrios was that he took a lot of touches away from Moore, and I felt Moore is way and away the better receiver than Berrios. Now I was for bringing Berrios back because I thought that would help Zach's progression, but now that you're not doing anything with Zach, Berrios being gone, Davis being gone is totally fine with me. Citybird, Ryan, catch me up. Is he confirmed for McAfee? No, he's not. But I think if there's one way for Aaron Rodgers to announce a trade, him going on McAfee would totally like piss off Schefter and Rappaport because this is like not your mainstream media. I mean, this is in a sense going to be mainstream media because shows like the Pat McAfee show and shows like this are, how people are consuming content nowadays. And I feel like that would really piss off Rappaport and Schefter, who Rodgers is not super thrilled about. So maybe that's a situation that we see play out here. Emilio Ramirez, thank you so much for the super chat. A little cup of coffee. Thank you. Lamar tweeted he turned down 133 fully guaranteed. Yeah, that's what he was offered initially with the $250 million deal or $230 million deal that was offered to him. Basically, there was a $100 million gap from 100. Basically, Watson got $230 million fully guaranteed. Everyone thinks Lamar's trying to get more than Watson, which means $233 million guaranteed would be more than Watson, and that's what that's the $100 million difference that's going on. I feel like a deal with Lamar might be like, hey, we'll guarantee you your contract 2 years in advance. So if you're on the roster for 2023, 2025 is guaranteed. You're on the roster for 2024, 2026 is guaranteed. And you play it like 2 years out, so that way he still has some financial security with all that, but you're not on the hook for the entire contract. That's kind of like what the Chiefs did with Mahomes. They did a 10-year contract for $500 million, and it's like his contract, if he starts week 1, is guaranteed for the next year. So with Lamar, maybe you do it 2 years out, so that way, if he gets injured, he still gets 2 years of security in that capacity, but you're not on the hook for all 5 years. I think that's something you could possibly look into. I see Dom C in here. Dom C says, Josh Downs is a stud. For those of you guys that don't know Dom C does some great draft breakdowns over at Green Beans channel. And Dom C, I want to get you over here and do some more of that too. Josh Downs is a stud. Slot only in the NFL and will be a top 50 pick, probably out of our wheelhouse. Okay, that seems to make sense. Yeah, I don't think the Jets are going to go receiver in the top 2 rounds. I'd be pretty surprised. Citybird says Lamar turned down 200 guaranteed, more than Kyler, more than Russell, but less than Deshaun. Are you sure? Is that actually... I don't think that's true. Unless he was offered a 3-year, $133 million deal and he turned that down, but also had I've never heard the $200 million guarantee. That might be new if that is what it is. Infamous G. I would trade Moore for someone needing a wideout for a first-rounder if possible. There's no way Elijah Moore's worth a first-round pick right now. His trade value has got to be pretty low. I would say you could get a mid-second round pick for him, like the Packers' second round pick in the middle of the round. That might be able to get done. That would be crazy if the Jets didn't give up like their second round pick, but wound up trading Elijah Moore as the second round pick that they wound up giving up. Be interesting. Jesse goes, it's much easier being a millionaire quarterback than a blue-collar Jets fan waiting around for the big news. Yeah, the $1 million quarterback already knows where he's going. All of us are just scrambling. Ethan G says, the number 13 pick has yielded some absolute studs the last several years. Check the history. We should keep the pick. Yeah, I want to hold on to 13, especially because it seems like there's going to be 4 quarterbacks that go ahead of us, which means you're getting a top 10 player at a non-quarterback position. And if you think 1 or 2 of the corners might go ahead of you, now you're talking a top 7 player at a position of potential need. And one of those could be tackle. One of those could be, maybe it's defensive tackle, depending on what happens with Rankins. I like the idea of bringing Calais Campbell, though. We were talking about that a little bit earlier today. Have him a lot cheaper than Rankins. Rankins probably going to cost you like $8 million. Tigo. I have Ben on my lap. He's asking where his friend Shay is. Shay is downstairs in her chair right now, hanging out with Mom. Actually, they were asking me to build a fire, so I'm going to eat this slice of pizza, and then I'm going to go build a fire real quick. We got some wood inside, and I'll come back up. I need a little loading emoji on here. Or loading screen. City Burp says Schefter and Mort both confirmed the $200 million. It was back in September. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I totally whiffed on that then. I don't know why you would turn down $200 million fully guaranteed. Or why, if you're the Ravens, you wouldn't offer $231 fully guaranteed. Like, if you're offering the $200 million, is the 31 really like the deal breaker? That seems like it's ridiculous. How much are you honestly saving off that? If that's true, that's a joke. John says, I'm watching the herd, and according to Colin, there is a report that Rodgers plans to accept the trade. Yeah, there's been a few people bouncing around saying that he plans to accept the trade, but until he accepts the trade, I don't know how excited we are. Or I guess I'm feeling more comfortable, not necessarily as like on edge as him maybe retiring, but I think he's coming. Want to see Sauce burn a cheesehead? So Sauce already burnt the cheesehead. It's on his YouTube page. Go to Sauce's YouTube channel. You'll be able to see him burn the cheesehead with Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson. It's a little weird, but I get where they were going with it. So AJ Spa says Lamar's way in over his head in these negotiations. He needs an agent. Yeah, I think that's where people... I think the NFL feels that way too. I think they would much prefer to deal with an agent because that provides that buffer period between the team and the player. Like, when it gets really awkward when you got to be the team saying, hey, look, Lamar, your injuries are kind of a concern. And the way you play, granted, it's the way we have forced you to play because the offensive coordinator and we think we're playing to your strengths. Basically, your play style does not lend itself to being healthy for a long term, and that's why your contract is going to reflect that. And that's a very hard conversation to have with someone when he's saying, hey, look, I want an MVP. I'm a shining star as far as like off the field stuff goes. And that pedophile over in Cleveland got $230 million fully guaranteed. You're telling me I'm not worth that? Well, the Ravens hit him with a non-exclusive tag. So they're saying, hey, look, it looks like the rest of the NFL feels that way. Lamar may cost himself a ton of money. I hope that's not the case. But he may cost himself a lot of money if he doesn't, wind up signing. I think it's the agent thing is. I think the NFL doesn't want to deal with the agent. I think the NFL doesn't want to deal with players negotiating themselves. UK Jets fan says, I'm dieting down from 19th, 11 to 17th. Please, no more pizza talk. Oh, sorry. I'll try to eat quietly. Dark Soldier says, just get Mike Evans. I'm a big fan of Mike Evans. It seems less likely because I feel like at this point Rodgers just wants to play with guys he knows or feels he knows well. Like, I think Thielen is a distinct possibility too. Gohan says, well, that could be why Lamar might not want to be there anymore. Yeah, I think that's definitely why Lamar doesn't want to be there. I think there's feelings hurt, and I think he's going to get traded, and I think it's going to be after the draft, and I think the Falcons are still squarely in play. Maria, Jets coverage is off the charts. Did you do a 5-hour live stream yesterday? That's insane. Yeah, it would have gone longer, too, if I didn't have a meeting. I had a meeting at work. I was like, crap. Had to head over there. Lucas, am I the only one getting tired about talking about this? Yeah, dude, I just want to know the Aaron Rodgers stuff that's going to drop. Okay, true, Dan. Deshaun Watson is not a pedophile. He's a sexual predator. Correct. I did not mean to misquote that. Duncan saying, Corey Davis cap savings, $10.5 million. Not sure why it hasn't been done yet. I think it's because he's going to be a part of the trade. I think he winds up going over to Green Bay as a kind of like fluff in the fluff in the trade. So that way it doesn't just look like the Jets gave up a second-round pick for Rodgers. It'll be a second plus Corey Davis plus, maybe a conditional pick next year. That would be my guess. Brian, welcome aboard. I'll be your pilot today. If Moore wants to leave, let's get Evans or Hopkins. I don't know if Moore wants to leave. I think he was just frustrated about all the stuff going on. Lewis says, we are now called the New York Packers. That'll happen. Bob Marston says, the Browns are sniffing around Moore, but they are the only team expressing interest in Moore. Yeah, I saw a report yesterday or 2 days ago that they might be interested in trading for him. So I would be, I'd listen. I don't think Moore is so good that you don't listen to trade offers, but I think I wouldn't want to trade him. Brandy says, Rodgers has been very vocal regarding his quarterback coach, Tom Clements. Packers hired him out of retirement. How do you see Rob Calabrese handling this? I don't think Rob Calabrese should be our quarterback, guru for Rodgers. I think if they feel like they want him to have a say in the Zach Wilson stuff behind the scenes, that's fine. For me, I think Nathaniel Hackett and Rodgers are going to be the buddy-buddy thing. I don't think it's necessarily has anything to do with the quarterback coach here. Yeah, that's where I see it. Citybert drops in, says, is Elijah going to be happy with Thielen and Lazard here? He likes his targets. I feel like if you're going to get Lazard and Thielen, assuming Cobb is also coming, I don't think there's any way he winds up being on the roster with all those guys. Tigo, you want to hop on? Tigo, if you want to hop on, I'll let you. You could fly the show while I build the fire if you want. Brian Bogan says, new NFL rule: you have to have the right, or you have the right to an agent. If you cannot afford an agent, one will be provided to you. Do you understand your rights? I feel like you're going to get more money overall, like a better contract, better feelings all the way around with an agent. They just don't want to pay like the commission fee. Okay. So Tigo's going to hop on in just a second. I'll let him co-pilot this or pilot this while I go build the fire, and then we'll come back. We'll talk a little football with Tigo. Ryan, enough with Rodgers. Are you getting enough sleep? Or the little one waking you up in the wee hours? So Shay's been a little under the weather. So the last few days have not been a lot of sleep for me, outside of even like the Jet stuff. Like the Jet stuff is already keeping me up. But, having a little one that's not feeling so good, that adds to it a little bit. Mr. Flashy says Lamar was saying $200 million was false. Okay. I was going to say, that didn't seem like that was an accurate number. Maybe it was a $200 million contract with 133 fully guaranteed. That feels like that might be the deal. The union is acting as Lamar's agent, according to reports. I do like that. That's a good move. I think the NFLPA definitely feels like there's some collusion going on with the Lamar stuff. Lamar's too good of a quarterback to not have offers from other teams. It just feels really funky. I don't think it's actually collusion. I think it's just owners realize if they do this for Lamar, it's happening with every quarterback going on the rest of the way out. Kabaru San says, I heard the Rodgers deal needs to be done by tomorrow at 4 p.m. because of the start of the new league year and the Packers being over the cap otherwise. Is that true? Let's see what their cap space is looking like. I don't actually know anymore. I don't think it necessarily has to be done by tomorrow, but I think it could be done because it's the start of the new league year. Yeah, so no, the Packers are $20.8 million under the salary cap right now. They have $17.7 million under the cap in 2024. So it's going to be a little bit of a tight year for these next 2 years for them. If Rodgers ends up getting traded, let's see what that winds up doing. So it's not bad. If Rodgers ends up getting traded, they drop from $20.8 million to $12.1. So it's like an $8 million dead cap hit for Rodgers. So they have the space to be able to do it now. The trade just can't actually be official until Wednesday anyway, so it would just be in principle. Now, if Rodgers is cut, the Packers gain a ton of money for next year. They're at $18 million in 2024. They shoot up to $58.4 million in salary cap space once a Rodgers move is facilitated. Mr. Flashy says, check Lamar's tweets. All right, let's see what's going on. Yeah. Okay. So Lamar Jackson turned down $200 million guaranteed deal back in September, and that was posted by Be More Beatdown. Let's see if this person... I always check the verification, see where it came from. This is a legacy account, so this is actually one that was verified prior to the whole thing going on. And Lamar posts the look tweet, the guy with the hats. He's like, that's not true. And then he tweets again 25 minutes ago, people throw shit at the wall and hope it sticks. So Lamar's saying none of that's true. None of that's going on. Go on. Is Tigo coming on? Yeah, Tigo will be on. He's just got to change Ben. He'll hop on in a little bit. Maria says, 4th rounder for Elijah Moore, maybe a 3rd if JD can find a sucker. See, I think a 3rd is the floor that I would trade Moore for. I'm not trading him for less than that, and honestly, a 3rd round pick doesn't seem too appealing considering he was the 2nd pick in the 2nd round. Like, that guy was a 1st round talent all day. I'd rather see him make his, or reach his true potential with Aaron Rodgers than move on from him for a 3rd round pick. It's almost the same way I feel about Zach. Like, I wouldn't trade Zach for a, whatever his value actually is right now because of the drastic upside. You're better off just sitting and wait and not selling low. So I don't want to see more go. Outside the echo chamber says an agency would have had all this clarified that Lamar, where Lamar is missing. Yeah, I think there would be some clarification there. I also think there's some back channel conversations that could go on with an agent that represents other players because they could be talking to, let's say this agent represents Lamar. He also happens to represent, maybe it's Garrett Wilson or something like that. Then it's like, oh, well, hey, Garrett, we want to talk to you and your agent. And then you bring in the agent and say, hey, we're looking to bring in a quarterback to help your client in Garrett Wilson. And there's a few options that might be on the table. We're willing to give out a fully guaranteed contract of about 5 years to the right candidate. That way you're not talking about Lamar, but that way his agent knows, and now he knows that he's able to go out and find that money. But because Lamar doesn't have an agent, none of those back channel conversations are going on right now. That's the issue with Lamar. That's where he's missing. Chris Krug says, watch we get Cobb and Lazard. Does Jordy Nelson come out of retirement? It sure feels like it, right? Like, I don't know how much I want to have a bunch of old guys coming into the fold here. All right, we got Tigo joining the show. Let me do this. Bam. Whoop. Hold on. Try that again. All right. So, Tigo, I'm going to let you fly this show. I'm going to go back to the other screen real quick, and then I'm going to go start a fire, and then I'll be back, and we can talk some more football. So,
awesome.
Thank you for hopping on. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, anytime.
All right. All right, you're good.
Alrighty. What's up, chat? I can't highlight messages. So I'm just going to be like staring off to this is where I have chat. I've got 3 monitors. I'm not Ryan with the ultra wide, right? So I got Twitter here. So if any news breaks, I'll be able to see that. Adam Schefter just broke. Packers veteran free agent tight end Mercedes Lewis, who spent the past 5 seasons in Green Bay, has drawn interest from, amongst others, the New York Jets and the Las Vegas Raiders. Ooh, interesting. We know how much Aaron loves his guys and how Mercedes Lewis is definitely one of his guys. That's an interesting tidbit there. The good thing is that the Jets could technically fit Mercedes Lewis on the team and not have him play a significant role, because isn't he like 40? No, he's 30. Is he 40? Mercedes Lewis is old. I think he's 38 or 39. So, but I wouldn't expect him to get very many if he were to come to the Jets, which I don't think is likely. If that were to happen, I don't think it's this big, like he's gonna play such. Rossini make a tweet? Let me look up Rossini. What did Rossini tweet out? More to come. Oh, she just quote tweeted and then said more to come. Again, I think that a lot of I think we're definitely in a position now where the trade is essentially done. Aaron has told the Jets, "Hey, I want to be a Jet." The Jets and the Packers are like, "Cool," and they're just figuring out the money thing. I think that's truly and honestly where we're at. I think that's what's going on right now. And so, yeah. First of all, let me say hi to everybody who was saying hi to me in the chat. I didn't want to like just ignore you guys, but you know, there's like 1,000 of you in here. And so, what's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? How are we feeling about the Aaron Rodgers stuff? Are you guys tired of talking Aaron Rodgers possibly being a Jet? And I'm just ready to be like, I'm ready to start the conversation about Rodgers once he's a Jet. Like I'm kind of at that point. I just want to know what the trade is. Like, what are we giving up? Is it a second? Is it a third? Is it a first? And like now we've got, you know, a bunch of other guys that are coming. Like, what is happening? I just don't know what it is. But we got reports yesterday, right, that Rodgers was recruiting guys. Gohan says it. Either that or Rodgers is trying to recruit as many people as possible. I think it's Rodgers just recruiting his guys, right? We saw this happen every single time before it happened, like with the other quarterback, like veteran quarterbacks who were chasing like their last ring to solidify their legacy. They all did the same thing. Yeah, we went over the Shefty tweet, Oscar. It's one of those things where I look at it and I go, yeah, it worked out for all of those guys. Peyton Manning brought a bunch of old Colts and all those guys to Denver with him. Brady brought a bunch of old Patriots guys with him to Tampa. The expectation that Aaron wasn't going to be or wasn't going to hijack, like not hijack, I guess, but like bring a bunch of players with him to the New York Jets, I think is a bit like it's just not real. Like, of course he was going to do that. The good thing is that at no position of like the players that he might be recruiting outside of one is that player going to come in and play significant time. Like, let's look at Lazard. Lazard is coming in to be a Corey Davis replacement, right? Theoretically, in this world and what I think is going to happen, I think Corey is going to Green Bay. If that's happening, Ryan's coming back. If that's happening, you can see like, okay, he's just a Corey Davis replacement. It's 1-for-1. If Mercedes Lewis comes, well, he's going to be like tight end 4. Like maybe you bump out Kenny Yeboah a little bit. Like, I don't know. The only one that would come in, and I really hope this one happens, because I love him as a dude and as a player, is Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams'
too.
name. Oh, I love him as a person.
So do I.
And then what? Our running back room would be under $8 million if you count everybody's contracts. Because as much as people
and Brees
don't
may
want,
not start the season too. It's
course
possible
he's
they
not.
IR him for a little bit.
absolutely. And like as much as people don't like him, like Ty Johnson is going to be a Jet, right? He's going to get the 1 year, $1 million deal. So you're
You think
telling
that
me we're
happens?
going to 100% it's going to happen. It's not going to happen anytime soon. We're going to wait out to see the Rodgers situation, but it's ultimately going to you have to have 4 running backs.
Well, I also think they're going to use Bam as the kick returner. So you don't want to have Brees maybe on IR for 4 weeks with Bam returning kicks, and now you just got Carter in the event Bam gets hurt? I don't know if that's
And, like-
a move. I mean, maybe they don't have Bam return kicks then.
I think we have to remember who also lined up back there with Barrios was Ty Johnson, who can also return kicks. So it's one of those things where I think it makes a lot of sense to bring him back. It's like, again, 1 year, $1 million for a guy who, in a limited playing role is actually relatively like good. The year that we all complain about him, he was running back 2. He should never be running back 2. Like, he was right behind Michael Carter. That's ridiculous. It's not a real thing. But running back
RB4
3,
is perfect. Yeah. Well, yeah, 3, 4, whatever. I like it. I'm not upset with that. Citybird drops in and says TB12 recruited after he signed. It feels like Aaron Rodgers doesn't trust, and I think that's fair. I think Rodgers wants to make sure all the moves get done before he shows up. Right? Like that's his leverage. His leverage is his own skill set. Right? It's like a worker strike almost.
I also look at it and I go, it's exactly why we saw the New York Jets are pursuing Alan Lazard heavily, not the New York Jets have signed Alan Lazard. I think we're going to have a bunch of these, contracts in place. And then it's going to be like, look, everything's in place. They can sign on the dotted line whenever you get here. And it's just like, all right, cool.
That seems like it would make a lot of sense to do. And plus it feels like it gives Rodgers a little bit of like that GM power that he really likes. Vinny drops in, says, if Cobb forces more to go, then I will hate all of this. I don't think it would be Cobb forcing more to go. I think it would be the additions of like Thielen, Lazard, and Cobb that would force more to go. Is that kind of where you fall on this?
Yeah, Cobb is a Braxton Berrios replacement, right? In the same way that I look at Lazard as a Corey Davis replacement. So we're just trading out non-Aaron Rodgers wide receivers for Aaron Rodgers wide receivers. And in my eyes, you're looking at wide receiver 3 and then wide receiver 5. Those are the guys that we're like swapping out. And so if you're telling me Lazard, who has played 15 games in the last 2 seasons and is just as good of a run blocker as wide receiver 3, and his skill set matches up with what Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore do really well, I'm cool with that, because even though Corey Davis is a better wide receiver, and I don't even think that's up for debate, he just can't stay on the field.
Yeah.
That's
That's got to be an issue. Like I like Corey Davis. I wouldn't have had a problem if he was healthy the entire time he was here. He was good and productive when he was on the field. But yeah, I think swapping out some of your players like a Corey Davis, like a Braxton Berrios, maybe like an Elijah Moore, to get guys that are comfortable with your quarterback that you want to bring in for the next 2 years. Like that's what you got to operate within this 2-year window. If there's players that don't fit that 2-year window right now, and if you think there's a chance that you could draft a player with the pick that you get for Elijah Moore, or maybe it helps you keep another pick instead of sending one for Aaron Rodgers or something along those lines. I personally want to see Elijah Moore here. I think he's a first-round talent at the top of the second round, and we'd be selling low at that point. I think there's far more explosive upside with a Moore plus Rodgers situation.
The way I look at it with the whole Moore situation is like, we were asking for a 1 at the deadline last year. How is it that his value has gone down when our quarterback has gotten better, right? Like in this world where Aaron Rodgers is a Jet, and let's just will that into existence, right? So Aaron Rodgers is a Jet. So now you're telling me a wide receiver who was explosive year 1 with Zach Wilson under center, and year 2 was getting open on every play, but had 4 quarterbacks that couldn't crack the top 32 in quarterback rankings. And now we're blaming him for his production. And, of course he gets upset. Wide receivers are divas. right?
Mhm.
Like all of them are. We saw that happen with every guy in our room not named Corey Davis last year, right? Garrett started doing the on-field antics, and I love Garrett. Don't get me wrong. Elijah doing the trade away, and I love Elijah. Don't get Mims doing the trade away because he was put in some theoretical and mystical doghouse that no one could find or understand. Like wide receivers are divas. That's just the way it is now.
Yeah, they
But,
all want
like-
their touches.
Exactly. And the offensive coordinator and the quarterback didn't help. Why would he want to leave? And why would the Jets trade a really good player when we're about to like go for this? It's just counterintuitive. You know what I mean? We're loading up and we're going to trade somebody away. It's
Yeah,
just-
it feels
doesn't
weird,
make
right?
sense. Yeah.
Cashmere Black says, what about Mecole Hardman with the New York Jets? I would say no. There's no connections there, I don't think, right?
There isn't any connections, but like if we were talking about in a world where Aaron Rodgers isn't a New York Jet quarterback, like he is the perfect, in my opinion, like Braxton Berrios-esque type of replacement. He's bigger, he's leaner, but like he's a specials guy, you know, and he can do that at a high level. He's got wheels on him.
Yeah, he's
so
fast.
So you're telling me wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5, and Mecole Hardman? I'm on board.
Peter Chestnut says, the thing is, even without Rodgers, having players that know Hackett's system is a must for the Jets. No Ty Johnson, please. Yeah, I love the idea of bringing in Jamal Williams because he does know Hackett's system. He does know Aaron Rodgers. They talk very highly of one another. And I think he could flourish here. I think it would be a lot of fun. I just don't know why maybe someone like Williams would want to leave Detroit after having so much success last year. Aaron Rodgers moves out of the division. That means the Lions are probably going to be looked at as one of the favorites in that division, especially if the Vikings end up moving on from Kirk Cousins in some capacity. Yeah, I don't know. I like the idea of adding these players. So like Lazard, Cobb helps get all the other players up to speed so that way you don't have the situation like with Green Bay last year where maybe there was a little bit of a lag time with some of the new wide receivers. But we'll see. How you feel about bringing in the Hackett-esque players, Tigo?
It makes a ton of sense. Like every coordinator, every head coach, everybody does this. How many times did we talk about when Robert Saleh came that we were going to pull a bunch of Robert Saleh guys, right? Look at what the Houston Texans are doing with DeMeco Ryans. Look how many San Francisco guys are now Houston Texans. Look how many New York Jets players are going to be Houston Texans. What did we see the report? Like Sheldon Rankins was interested, that Houston and they were interested in each other. I expect Quan Alexander to 100% be a Houston Texan at this point in his career. Like you pull guys that are familiar with your system, that you're familiar with, and that can play at a relatively high level in your system. So going after these guys makes a ton of sense. And a little nugget on the Jamal Williams thing, there is interest between him and the Lions. He wanted to test free agency and see what happens. I think what I read from that is he wants to see where Aaron goes. Because if Aaron goes back to Green Bay, I think he goes back to Detroit. But if Aaron goes to New York and New York starts loading up and they need a running back, he might follow Aaron to New York. He's at a point in his career where I think he's ring chasing. Isn't he 30?
He let's look it up. He's only been in the league, I think, 6 years. I thought it was 6 years. He is
27.
Yeah, so he's young. Like
Oh, never mind. I
this
thought
would
it
be
was
the
older.
time after a 7. So he'll be 28 in like 2 weeks. This is the time when you have 17 touchdowns last year. I feel like if I were him, I would cash in on the biggest contract you could possibly get right now because shelf life is way too short for running back. If he wants to ring chase and he's not looking for the money, I want him even more then because I think that's the type of personality you want in your locker room to try and keep these guys together, like our young core, for maybe not insane money. Like everyone's going to be like, oh, I want to be the highest paid this, the highest paid that. But if you start getting guys that are taking less money at positions and they say, hey, this is how you win a ring, let's do this. It's worth way more over the course of your career than to go money hungry right now. I love it.
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense.
Juan drops in, says, are you concerned that we haven't restructured CJ Mosley yet? No, not yet. We can move off of him at any time, so there's no real rush in restructuring CJ Mosley. I think maybe if you get Aaron Rodgers and then you're like, hey, Mosley, we need to restructure you a little bit to bring in X, Y, Z other players, then maybe there's, more of a conversation. If CJ does not restructure, I don't know how you keep him on the team for $21.5 million. How do you feel about
For the next
CJ?
few years. I think CJ should be on this team. I would love to see extension. People keep saying restructure. That's off the table, I think. Because he's already got 2 void years on the back end. So we're going to see $6 million of CJ Mosley on the dead cap in 2025, and then $3 million of CJ Mosley on the dead cap in 2026. And so $3 million each year. And so my thing is, he hasn't gotten so bad that he's not a playable, like that he's not a guy that you can keep on your team. And so my thing would be, what would an extension look like? Keeping him on the team theoretically until 2027, which would be when he turns 35, which is a thing. And then what happens if you do 2023, 2024 guaranteed?
Yep.
And then you essentially do void years for 25, 26, and 27, where you can get out from under that contract. And then you just say, hey, look, we love you. You're the heart of our defense. You are the quarterback of that defense. You keep these guys gelled together. But you need to understand that you're losing a step and that we need to bring help for you. You are asked to do everything in the middle of the field by yourself. And at $21 million, we can't get anybody. How about you're here for the next 5-ish years at 13 or 14? So you're still getting paid more money than you'll ever be able to spend. The Mosley family will be set. So...
Yeah, CJ Mosley's contract right now, he's got $17 million coming to him this year and $17 million coming to him next year. That's because his prorated signing bonus was paid to him last year, which is what stretched out everything else. So what Tigo's talking about, he's got 2 void years for his age 33 and 34 seasons. So it's 2-year contract and then 2 empty years. Basically, if you sign CJ Mosley to a 4-year deal at this point, you could, in a sense, lower his cap hits, maybe guarantee the 2 years like Tigo's saying, and then you get the option to hold on to him at 33 and 34 years old, but it's, in a sense, dummy years on that contract, similar to the Aaron Rodgers contract. Like Aaron Rodgers has 2 years remaining on his deal, or he's got 4 years remaining on his deal. Really, it's only 2 years because the last 2 years are like this, what Tigo's saying, kind of dummy years. He's never ever going to play on those, but it's for salary cap purposes. So it would be something cool I think they should explore at the very least. Citybert drops in and says, gonna tune into AJ Hawk. He knows, obviously, he can't say. I do have it on right now. I haven't heard anything, though.
I don't think AJ's going to say anything.
No, I don't think he will either.
He's too close with Aaron to... I'm not going to say he's in the inner circle, but he's like in the inner circle adjacent,
Yeah.
And if he ever wants to be in the inner circle... This is the easiest way to get off of it is by saying something stupid on Pat McAfee show, where everybody is watching because he had a spot on it all year.
Oh yeah, no. This is where trust can be made or broken. Vinny drops in and says, "Is there anything that can be put in a contract negotiation that Rodgers has to show up in the offseason workouts from the jump?" I think that might be what they had a conversation with out in California. They're like, hey, look, we love you. We want you 100% in all the time. If you only want to play 1 year right now and you're not sure what the future is, that's totally fine. We have no problem with that. But we want to trade for you. We want to surround you with everything. We want to give you the keys to the car. We'll give you all the little toys you want. You could play GM. We want you here. We think you can win a Super Bowl while you're here. If you win here, you're going to cement your legacy as one of the greatest of all time. And, we'll figure out the rest year over year. So I think it's implied, like, we want you all in for all our workouts because we have a young team. We think you could teach them a lot from doing that. We want to hit the ground running. How do you feel about Aaron Rodgers, and do you think there's going to be some type of maybe clause or understanding that he has to go to the offseason workouts?
Oh, for sure. I think one of the big sticking points right now is I don't think a lot of people keep talking about the current Aaron Rodgers deal as like a baseline. I don't think Aaron is playing on that contract at all. Like at all. And so I think the first thing that's going to happen is Aaron Rodgers has been traded to the New York Jets on a new restructured or redone contract. And that's going to be the first thing that's going to happen. And I think that by doing that, the New York Jets can hold some leverage in the sense of like, we're going to need 2 years out of you. You know what I mean? Kind of like you can't put poison pills in contracts anymore, but like essentially do like you're not getting any money if you're not here next year, but if you're here next year, you'll get the full 110 million, like easy breezy, beautiful cover girl. we're going to bring all your guys, but you've got to be here for 2 years. And like, we want you to be part of the off-season workout stuff, because in this point, we're 100% going for a ring, and we're going to do, we're going to give everything to go get it, but we need you here 100%.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think Rodgers might buy into that as well. Do you think there's any possibility that he's here longer than 2 years? I know there's like the flip-flopping of like he might retire, he might not retire, but like he looked fresh in that interview with Brandon Marshall. Like he seems like he's juiced up. And I know it's different, you know, being at this point in the offseason right now, but I could absolutely see a situation where a 39-year-old Aaron Rodgers wants to play till he's 43. And you might get the entire rookie contracts of our young players with a stud quarterback.
I was saying this, I think, yesterday. I don't remember where I said it. I've been on so many shows over the last couple of days. But, and my own live stream. I think I said it on my live stream. No, it doesn't bore me. I said, I think he's here for 3 years. You know? I think we've got, it's not a 2-year window. I think we've got a 3-year window. And I think it just depends on what what happens with the team, right? Because I think it's 2 years minimum. And that third year like what happens if we do the thing this upcoming year, right? And he says, dang, we're not going to lose anybody on this team. No one's on really expiring deals that matters. Run it back. And like, what happens if in year 2 we get to an AFC championship and then we're out? Like, and then you're like, dang, we still got all these young guys. Run it back one more time for a third year. Like, I think at max, it's probably 3 years, and at minimum, it's 2. But the reason I say 3 is I would like for it to be like a really clean break from Zach Wilson. I still believe in the kid, and I think that he can ultimately be something. And I think it's funny that Sam Darnold is in San Francisco right now. One, because that's a great signing for him, but that just goes to, like, I think time is a flat circle. And another Jets quarterback is going to end up in San Francisco. If Kyle is still there, they're going to go get Zach at the end of his 5th year. Like, kind of a thing. Because, like, the kid's got all of the talent in the world. And it's just up here. That's what's getting him. It's his brain. And so I would like for it to be a clean split and all of that stuff. And it'd be, like, nice and amicable. And then let's just go hit the draft again. I just don't want that question mark of Zach Wilson looming on the team. Because then you're just like, then you put yourself in an Aaron Rodgers situation in Green Bay with Jordan Love, and it's just like, as much as I love the kid, it's a weird situation.
Yeah, you try to avoid it if you can. Peter Chestnut drops in, says Rex Ryan told Saleh he wishes he brought more of his guys from the Ravens than Saleh brings in his guys, and we get a top 5 defense. Even backups helped. Yeah, Solomon Thomas, I think, guys that understand Quan. That's why I was hoping for Jimmy Ward, I think, on the back end. I don't know. Is there anyone else from Robert Saleh's defense in San Francisco that we could be targeting? I don't know any offhand.
Give me a second. I'll find out.
Yeah, I know Ward was the only one that was jumping out at me. I mean, maybe there's a situation where you look for like a Bobby Wagner who played under Saleh in Seattle. That would be interesting. That would be ballsy.
There's still like there are guys, right? Like if we needed a linebacker, Azeez Al-Shaair is still out there. You know, if we're trying to get maybe some edge guys, I know a lot of their edge guys have just become free agents. There are still some interior defensive guys that are still like practice squad guys that you might want to bring over. There are players there. I just don't think. I think we're past that window of let's go get San Francisco guys. I think we're at a window now where it's just like, okay, we got to go get guys. Right? Yeah. Like for me, if Rankins doesn't work out, I would love to bring in, because I don't think they would be that expensive if they're ring chasing, like Calais Campbell and Fletcher Cox.
Ooh, I wasn't even thinking Fletcher Cox.
They're both free agents, and like I think both of their contracts combined maybe doesn't reach the $11-ish million that Rankins is probably going to go and get.
Yeah, they were talking like $8 to $10 million for Rankins, at, like possibly. Like Calais Campbell the last few years has played for $2 or $3 million. It hasn't been a whole heck of a lot. I think that's what I was looking at before. Let me say that again. Check it again.
And so there's that kind of thing that I look at. But realistically, I would love like I think the one thing that's worrying me is like this has nothing to do with Rodgers. Is that we haven't gone out and gotten an interior defensive. That's what's worrying me.
I feel like some of that has to do with the contracts we're seeing. Some of the defensive tackles that are getting paid right now, like I don't want to be in on those guys. Like if Calais Campbell or or Rankins or whatever is looking to get like a pretty nice defensive tackle contract, I'd rather go the draft route. But yeah, Calais Campbell. I mean, you look at Calais Campbell. Looks the last 3 years. So when he initially signed with the Ravens, he had almost a $20 million signing bonus. It was a $5 million base. So that first year he got $25 million or roughly. And then the next 2 seasons after that, he played for $2 million and $1.1 million. So I could see a situation where the Jets do, hey, we're going to get you for 2 years and we're going to average you out to like $4 million a year or something like that. I think that would be a home run signing. The guy's still a stud.
Yeah, and it's a thing about you're at your age where you're not going to get the Sheldon Rankins contract. There's one other guy that I was really interested in, and I'm basing that contract. Can't remember his name, but he literally got the contract that I think Sheldon Rankins is going to get. And he got signed and got picked up. It was one of the New Orleans guys. I don't remember. It's not important. And I look at that and I go, dude, you're like 34, and you've been with the Ravens for the last like 3 contracts that you've signed. It's been a while. You haven't been able to do the thing. Like, and you get to play next to Quinnen Williams, like a certified dog. Why wouldn't you want to do that? I think it makes a ton of sense when you look at like the whole shebang of what might happen and what can happen.
Ricky from New York says, Ryan, I want Levante David to replace Quan, and the 49ers' only Jake Brendel center is the one I like. So Jake Brendel, I was going back. I was like, oh, it would be great to pair him next to Lake and Tomlinson. Maybe we get more out of Tomlinson. And then I was like, oh, wait, no, Alex Mack was the center when Tomlinson was there, so there's not really any chemistry between the two. Brendel's interesting, though. I think we're more likely to go after Ben Jones since we have their offensive line coach from Tennessee. How do you feel about the center position?
You took the words out of my mouth. I want Ben Jones here so badly, right in my veins, right? I think he was a top 10 center last year, even at 33. He's familiar with...
Is it Kevin Carter?
Rossini, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Aaron Rodgers has provided the New York Jets with a wish list of free agents he would like them to target and acquire per sources. It includes Randall Cobb, Alan Lazard, Mercedes Lewis, and Odell Beckham Jr.
Wow! Friggin'
What a tweet!
Elijah
Rossini.
Moore's ass is out the door if that's the case.
Gone.
If he wants those guys, I think Cobb and Lazard are locks to be here. If it's Mercedes Lewis, I guess he's just a 4th tight end at that point, right? Like, I don't think you're getting rid of Ruckert, and you've already restructured Conklin and Uzoma, so I think they're definitely here.
Kenny's gone.
Odell would be explosive. I don't see there's any way that Elijah Moore's here with Odell.
You get the second for you go get the second for Elijah, or you package him with a trade to Green Bay, and then the whole trade compensation goes down.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Let me. I'm gonna get the tweet and I'll copy it from here.
But yeah, Ben Jones. I love Ben Jones. Give me Ben Jones and then Luke Whippler to learn from him to answer the center question. But that's huge news by Rossini there.
So they're talking about McAfee's talking about the Jets right now. They're like, you're telling me they're going to sign Odell and Lazard? It's like, oh man, that would be friggin' wild. Let me get the tweet up here. Boom. This is the Deanna Rossini tweet. I'm going to put this right down here because this is the pressing news right now. And we're going to eliminate... Where's that little... Where did I have that go?
So while you're doing that, you have to admit that Rossini and Wingo having all the insider tweets is infuriating Adam and Ian right now. Like I was watching through Paul Boy Green because I don't have TV, so like I can't like just turn on ESPN. All of the clips of Diana running over to Adam and like, get on your phone, make a call, look at my phone. I've got things. How do you not have things? Do your job, Adam. And it's just like, oh, it's so funny.
I love it. I'm typing up a little thing, so I'll move the Deanna Rossini tweet in a second, but I'll type up like a more formal thing. So if you want to go through the chat and just read some stuff that's going on, give me a second here.
What's the chat saying? Why can't he just be happy with Odell and OBJ? It's not about just being happy. It's about like getting the things that best suit your skill set. If you're trying to win a ring, go get the things that best suit your skill set. Like that's what it is. I have a TV. That's okay, Ricky, New York. I said it wrong. I have a TV. I have multiple TVs. I don't have a television service. Let me say that. Like I don't have like a YouTube TV or a Spectrum thing up there. I don't know. I'm in Florida,
it is.
Remember?
You
have Spectrum Internet, right? No.
I've got Optimum. I've got Optimum over here. They're not my favorite right now.
I'm very happy that I have AT&T.
I tried to type in Rossini, but the software I'm using autocorrects it to Russian. Rossini.
I forgot how to spell Diana when I was looking her up because I forgot that I wasn't following her. And I was
I've done that.
I just had a brain fart. I was like, "There's an E in here somewhere, right?" Like,
it's like, where is this? Yeah, spelling is not my strong suit at times. I goofed on my Uzama thumbnail initially, and I was like, "Oh no, I put an S instead of a Z." Damn it. Let's see. Peter Chestnut drops in, says Sauce, who was on a stream with Odell, has been talking about a package. This is a package. Rodgers told Hackett to let's take over New York. Yeah, I think there's been enough smoke around the OBJ stuff that it might be a thing. I'm just concerned that like Odell's going to want a bunch of money, and he's only played like an average of 7 games a season the last few years. That doesn't make me feel all warm and fuzzy.
I don't think that's true because the moment the report came out that he said he was looking for multiple years at 20 a year, the very next day there were contrarian reports, right? And so like my thing is like Odell again. Probably a diva. Wide receivers are divas. That's the reality that we live in. They've always been divas. This isn't new, right? When you look at the whole breakdown of everything, like, dude, in what world does any agent that's representing Odell look at it and go, "You gotta go now"? Okay. Look at it and say, "Oh yeah, 100%. I'm gonna ask from any team for my client who hasn't played in a year." And hasn't been successfully fully healthy for any year in the last couple of years for $20 million. It's probably going to be if I had to guess, a small guaranteed number with a ton of incentives on top of it. Like, so it'll be like a $3 million deal with like $5 million worth of incentives. And like, there's $1 million playtime bonus, catch bonus, receiving yards bonus, touchdown bonus, the whole 9.
Yeah, I think Odell probably has, he's not getting the $20 million. I don't think anyone out there is going to offer him $20 million. Hey, Ben, what's up? I don't think Odell gets the $20 million. I think he winds up having a situation where he's going to have to take a prove-it deal to prove that he's going to be healthy. And 1 year, $8 million, on an incentive-laden deal is right where I think the Jets could be willing to pay him. And it's like, hey, you got to be all in for a ring and you got to stay healthy. But yeah, if you can get him on a lower-term number, I think Thielen could come in for a lot less too. Like, I'm a little surprised Thielen's not on this list. He's really just gunning for like Packers players and OBJ, it seems like.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that Adam Thielen just saw that tweet and he was like, "Whoa, what the heck?" And he's texting Aaron, be like, "Dude, imagine all the golf we can play at Ryan's golf course. It's gonna be dope.
It's gonna be awesome."
Like, come on, dude, let's go win a ring. I've been in Minnesota in the cold for too long. Let's just go to New York and dominate. I like green.
Brandy drops in and says Rodgers plus OBJ equals Jerry Springer. I mean, it would make for an explosive Hard Knocks. Do you think there's any way we don't get Hard Knocks?
No. here's the thing: if Rodgers is here, we're getting hard. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's too good. It's way too good of television to pass up. Like when a team is
you get the
up,
Hall of Fame, you get like the Rodgers Zach dynamic, you get offensive defensive rookie of the year. This is like the Hard Knocks that is going to shatter every record in terms of viewership. Like if the Jets get Hard Knocks, I'm pretty sure the last time the Jets were on Hard Knocks was the highest rated version of Hard Knocks that has come out with Rex Ryan and whatnot. Andrew, welcome aboard, dude. Glad to have you.
It's one of those things where it's just like the personalities involved are too dynamic. That's the real issue. How are you going to pass up like the Hard Knocks formula is one of two things in my opinion.
If you need to take care of Ben, I can hop over.
But I will hop off in a second. But like my thing is like the formula for Hard Knocks is either really, really bad team with new and explosive personality at head coach that's going to like shake things up, or team that's going for it all in, like clearly going all in, like they had like it's ring or bust kind of a thing, like, and that's the formula.
Yeah, I mean that's what's
looks.
exciting, right? And there's no juicier storyline than the New York Jets. There's zero.
Alrighty,
Sorry about
let me
that.
hop out of here. I'm gonna go take care of
All
this.
right.
I will be in chat, be on the laptop,
Cool.
so I will drop the hammer on any of y'all. Don't think
look.
you're gonna get away with some. I got you. The hammer's coming
Ben's got
down.
the ban button. He's hitting it.
Alrighty, have a good one.
Thank you so much for hopping on, Tigo. Much appreciated. All right, let me switch this because now Tigo's on my main screen. Let me get the main one back. Bam! All right, Tigo's out of here. Coughing on myself. All right, James. Whew. James drops in with Super Chat, says, outside of money, there's no reason the Jets couldn't have position packages with Wilson, OBJ, Lazard, and Moore. Likely Moore gets traded, though. Yeah, I don't know how you find enough touches for Elijah Moore with, like, Odell, Lazard, Cobb. That feels like it might be a little tough to do. Vinny. I don't love the idea of all these old poops coming in, kicking our new dudes out. What happens when they're all done? Another 50 years, if no Super Bowl. I think it depends on how the Jets feel about Elijah Moore overall. Like if their mindset is we're not going to re-sign this guy, like he's going to want a ton of money. He's been a pain in the ass as far as like headaches are concerned. You know, if that is the feeling, then I could see them moving off of Elijah Moore for whoever they want for a Super Bowl run. Now, if they feel like Elijah Moore has enough value and they want to possibly maintain him and keep him beyond his rookie deal, then I would say, yeah, don't trade for some of these older guys or sign these older guys and hold on to Elijah Moore because, look, you have one injury. Elijah Moore's dirt cheap. Like, the second-round pick that you might get for Elijah Moore, are you going to be able to draft a player that's going to immediately impact right now? I think it's possible, but it's also a raffle ticket. Like, you know what Elijah Moore is right now. I don't love the idea of moving Elijah Moore if that's what winds up happening. Knifey Spoony. Ooh, Saints are expected to retain star wide receiver Michael Thomas on an incentive-laden one-year deal. So Michael Thomas stays in New Orleans. Knifey Spoony says, as a Brooklyn Nets fan, this is giving me PTSD. Oh, dude, I feel bad. Oh, poor Nets. Brian Anderson. Okay. Change up on last night's trade pitch. Jets get Rodgers. Nijman. Packers get 13th, a second, and Elijah Moore. Nijman. Who's Nijman? Now I'm confused. Let me see. Who we got? Ooh, left tackle. That's interesting. 27 years old. Had a $6 million valuation last year. Huh. I still don't want to give up 13. I don't want to give up a second. I don't want to give Elijah Moore. So you're saying a first and 2 seconds for a quarterback who doesn't want to be there, that you guys have to trade, and a backup left tackle. I wouldn't do that. Seems like a bad trade for the Jets. Oh, man. Shay was sick at daycare a few days ago. I'm definitely coming down with something. What else are you guys talking about in here? Chris drops in and says, Damian Woody, bring in Jordy Nelson while we're at it, too. Yeah, right. It's going to be the whole New York Packers. Hey, it's all right. Our defense, as long as you keep those guys together, that's the stuff I like to see. Two Doritos says, is Rodgers' thingy still potentially happening? I think it is. I think we'll see it wind up happening. We'll hear about it either today or tomorrow. I don't think it's going to drag on too much longer here. I think it's once the Jets have all these contract offers in place, it's like, hey, look, this is what we can afford to do. This is what we want to do. We want to bring you guys in. Let's go win a ring. And I think if they show Rodgers like, hey, this is what we want. Oh, Odell wanted to go elsewhere, or, we can't offer certain things. Maybe that's, I don't know if we have to necessarily get everyone on this wish list for Rodgers to come. Like if you get, 3 of the 4, is Rodgers going to retire? I don't think so. Andy says, Nijman was a very good swing tackle. Jets could use it. I mean, if he's a throw-in, that would be great. I don't want to give up the 13th pick, though. That's the only thing. Like, I don't think you have to. Who else are you going to get for quarterback? Says Brandy. That's what the Packers are saying. Well, it's going to be super embarrassing for the New York Jets, but we have a bunch of other options. Like, if Rodgers says, oh, no, I'm not coming there, it's like, all right, well, screw it. We'll pivot to Lamar, or screw it. We'll go for Stafford or Cousins. Like, Rodgers does provide us our best shot at winning a Super Bowl, 100%. And I think you should absolutely work with the Packers to do things the right way and get them over there. But I don't think we're necessarily over a barrel here with Rodgers. Explosive says, Wingo tweet last night was right, and Sauce was right when he said it package deals everywhere. Yeah, I think most people, if the players are talking to one another, because the players don't get charged with tampering, I can understand why players are probably talking a little bit and understanding, like, hey, there's going to be guys that we want to bring in. It just made sense. Like, if you were to go after a Tom Brady would have guys that he would want you to bring in as well. I would think most quarterbacks that come in would feel similarly. Although, oddly enough, Carr didn't have that sort of stipulation. Oreo says, so if we get Rodgers, will we be on the same in the same positions as the Rams are in right now, where they're unloading everyone, they put all their chips into the table, now time to pay up? Yeah, I mean, if you're going for the ring, you are definitely going to pay the piper at some point, but the Jets have so many young players under contract on, like, cheap contracts. The Rams did it the opposite way. The Rams signed a bunch of high-priced guys and then did not draft their young guys well. I mean, they had some later round picks, and that's how they filled out the roster. But, like, in a few years, if you have to, trade any of these players, like if you had to move on from Alan Lazard, I don't think anyone's going to lose sleep over that. The guys you really want to worry about holding on to, it's Sauce, it's Garrett, it's AVT, it's Brees. Like, as long as you can retain those guys in 2025 and 2026 when you're going to have to start paying them, I don't care what happens this next little bit. I mean, realistically, if you bring in Aaron Rodgers and his group of players he wants to play with, you're probably, and this is probably, it's not guaranteed, but I would say you're probably moving on or okay allowing the contracts to expire for Mekhi Becton, Denzel Mims, and Elijah Moore. And if there were 3 players that we drafted that I feel kind of okay moving on from, if we had to move on from any players because of Aaron Rodgers, those would probably be the 3 that I'd take. So if you bring in Aaron Rodgers, it's not quite the same as the Rams situation. You will have to pay the dead cap hit at some point, but I don't think you're losing your core pieces. Like, Jalen Ramsey for me was not a core piece to that Rams team. He was there as a mercenary to try and win a ring, and now they're moved on from him. They're going to hit the reset button. I think the Jets will probably have to hit the reset button in 2025, but at the same time, you won't be losing your players. It'll just be having a dead cap hit. Maybe you can't re-sign as many free agents or things of that nature. But as long as you continue to draft well like Douglas has done, it becomes less of an issue. Anthony says, I'll take Garrett Wilson, OBJ, Lazard, and Cobb for a slot wide receiver. That's a stacked veteran wide receiver group who can get help, that can help the younger guys also. Yeah, I mean, that would be ballsy. Talk about an explosive room. If you could have more in line where he doesn't have to be traded, that'd be cool. I still want to hold on to Elijah Moore, but I could see him going. Brandy says, so the Packers take on cap that cannot be reworked with the Jets from prior contracts. They need players or draft picks. Well, yeah, I mean, I think you guys are going to get draft picks. Like, I think it'll be the conditional pick next year. I think you get a second-round pick this year. And then as far as players go, I think Corey Davis could wind up being a good option. I think we were going to move on from him anyway. I don't know if the Packers are in a position to negotiate, like, as far as strengths go. Unless they're willing to open it up to the NFC, that's the only way I see trade compensation going higher. But if Rodgers says, I'm going to the Jets, he's going to go to the Jets. Rodgers really has all the leverage here. It's not the Jets. It's not the Packers. And if Rodgers doesn't want to give up assets, you may not have to. Citybird says, our drought was 2 times as long as the Rams. Not the same. Yeah, got to go balls out. Love it. Not to mention the Rams were in a Super Bowl recently. Jets haven't been in a Super Bowl since Super Bowl III. Stellar! Welcome aboard! Hit that like button. Alex, do you think the Jets will get Rodgers? Because I don't know if they can get all these guys. Oh, Jimmy G joins the channel. Jimmy G, how's it like over there in Vegas? Not coming to New York. So, do we think that the Jets can get Cobb, Lazard, Mercedes, Lewis, and OBJ? I think that's the wish list, and it's let's see who we can get based on what those guys want. And I think if those guys are willing to take a little bit less money to make sure they play with Aaron Rodgers, I think that would be really cool. Mercedes Lewis does scare me a little bit. Adrian, welcome aboard. Hit that like button. As far as like the whole list, Mercedes Lewis is the one that scares me a little bit because I think that Conklin and Uzama are probably here for the next 2 years because of their contract restructures. And the only other tight end we have that like I would like to see playing time is Jeremy Ruckert. And I don't want to see a situation where we don't hold on to Jeremy Ruckert for like a 38-year-old Mercedes Lewis. I would hope Ruckert and Mercedes Lewis are like tight end 3 and 4 in those capacities. I don't want to see like a really old offense with Aaron Rodgers. That does concern me a little bit. Anthony says, can't lie, being a Jets fan my whole life, and usually... Oh, Tony, welcome aboard. Hit that like button. Anthony says, I usually, things happen like this. It doesn't go our way, but this feels very different. Yeah, I don't get confident too often in our New York Jets, and I'm very confident they're going to get Rodgers and that we are going to win a Super Bowl in these next 2 years. I'm jazzed about it. Very, very excited. I see you guys saying, let's move Ruckert to fullback. That would be awesome because then you open up that tight end spot, which would be cool. Jet Boyer says, Ryan, do you remember that Green Bay was high on Corey Davis before he signed with the Jets? They actually wanted to draft him, might make him a shoo-in in trade package. Yeah, I agree. I think it depends on, did the Packers want Corey Davis or did Aaron Rodgers want Corey Davis for the Packers? Because if it's the latter, then maybe there's a situation that Corey Davis restructures. I would say it's probably the former, like you're saying, where, otherwise Corey Davis would have been on, the keep list, I think, or would have had a conversation with our guys. I think Davis is definitely going to get thrown into the trade package, if for nothing else, just to make it look better. Because I think he could definitely go to Green Bay after he's cut from here, regardless. Damn, Nate Herbig goes to the Steelers. It's a nice little pickup for them. I was hoping we'd get him back. Murphy says, Aaron Rodgers, yes, has provided his wish list. Matt Connolly becomes a member of the channel. Yeah, drop some JETS in the chat for Matt. Welcome aboard, Matt. Glad to have you. Ooh, Tigo says, Brendel back to San Fran. It's making me feel more and more like Ben Jones for center for the New York Jets. I feel like you want a vet center there. Shenner says, go get that man OBJ. It would be an explosively exciting dynamic. Imagine Hard Knocks with Odell and like Rodgers and like all these personalities. Mercedes Lewis is 38 years old, still better sit the bench. Bad enough our quarterback is almost 40. Rodgers is on record saying Mercedes Lewis is the best football player he's ever played with. I'm pretty sure, I think that was the quote from him. Extremely athletic for what he is. And if Rodgers is like that all in on him, I don't care where he plays. We could find a place. It's your job as a coach to find a way to get your best players the ball. So bring in good players, let them figure it out. Our newest member, Matt, says, deal's been done. I think it's coming. It's coming down the pipe. Jimmy G says, you got to make that 5-minute chat wait faster than 5 minutes. Fudge. That's the lowest I can make it. The lowest is just like hit subscribe, but then you could hit unsubscribe. But I want a little watch time and engagement. So I make it a 5-minute minimum for you to sit and watch the chat, because maybe I answer your question without you having to, go crazy anyway. But I get a little watch time out of it too. So it's a give and take. Matt says, Ryan, what do you think the timeline or timetable is for Rodgers' decision now after all these new updates? I think you're going to see, the Jets try to extend offers, or like Tigo said, have offer sheets for all the players that they want. And they say, hey, Rodgers, this is what we're trying to get these guys in. Clearly, I would say Lazard and Cobb knew, and probably Mercedes Lewis knew they were all in on the Rodgers wish list. OBJ, I guess maybe feels the same way. I think now that, he's talking to Sauce and all that other stuff. Bag alert. Oh, wow. Oh, Jets made a push to go get Jake Brendel. So the center for the 49ers goes back to the 49ers on a 4-year deal. The Jets made a push, but he's back in San Francisco. So I would imagine the Jets pivot now to Ben Jones or Ryan Kelly as a center up here. So as far as a timetable for a decision, I think it's going to be in the coming days. Today, tomorrow, once we have enough insight into what these other free agents want to do. Citybert, Aubrey Marcus, as a Jet employee, think it maybe. That'd be cool. Isn't Aubrey Marcus, is that the Eagles guy? Is that right? Or no, the Colts guy? No. Oh, Aubrey Marcus is the, that's who that is. That's the ayahuasca darkness guy, the podcast thing. Yeah, maybe he's got like some medicine man. He's coming into the medical side of things to get everyone's head right. Keitha, chowder. Thank you for joining the channel. I'm going to have to figure out how to say your name because that is an aggressively hard name to pronounce. Matt Perone drops in and says, how do we get all these players that Rodgers wants? I don't know how you get these players without so Cobb replaces Berrios. Lazard replaces Corey Davis. Those are easy. Those make sense. Mercedes Lewis would be probably tight end 3. So maybe you make Ruckert the fullback like some people have been suggesting. That would sort of make sense. Odell, I don't know how you bring in Odell and keep Elijah Moore. That feels like you're probably trading Elijah Moore for some type of pick and then going for Odell. Or signing Odell and then trading Elijah Moore for a pick. I'm not exactly sure how that works out. Patrick Peterson. Bradbury back to Minnesota. So that's another center off the board. You got to think Ben Jones is going to be the target for the Jets now. Grill says, with this wish list for Lewis, what tight end do we release or trade? I think you hope that you don't release or trade any of them. I think Ruckert moves to fullback. That might be interesting. Daniel, dropping it with a super chat. Thank you, Daniel. Hit that like button, boys and girls. Daniel says, is it still worth it at this point with his wish list? Do we have the cap, especially with OBJ? Said earlier he seeks $20 million. Do we need to get them all? How does a rotation work? This is frustrating. I don't think the $20 million that Odell was rumored to be looking for is actually factual, because Florio reported on that the other day, but do you see any team giving Odell $20 million after playing an average of 7 games a year for the last 3 years? I don't. I would be shocked if that was the case. I don't think Odell comes here for more than 10. Like, if you wind up going after Odell, it's probably a 1-year prove-it contract. Alexander! Hit that like button on your way in. Thank you, brother, for subbing up the channel. Yeah, Daniel, I think I understand the cap ramifications. Like, for me, Lazard and Cobb, that cap space that's going to be allocated to them is the cap space that was given up or created by Corey Davis and Braxton Berrios. So that's an easy one. Mercedes Lewis, I can't imagine is going to cost very much money at all. I think OBJ that's the curious one. How much does that cost? Gangrene says, I don't see it being Mercedes Lewis. I think it'll be Robert Tonyan instead. Mercedes Lewis was the one that was mentioned in the Rossini tweet. That's the only reason that's up there. Oreo says, when does Joe Douglas's contract expire? He signed a 6-year deal, so I think he's got 2 years remaining on it. He's coming into his 5th year with the Jets. Do you believe we are going to re-sign him if we miss the playoffs this year? How does it play out with him? I think if you get Aaron Rodgers and then you have another perceivably good draft, I think the Jets will try to extend him this offseason. At the very least, start negotiating, like, hey, let's get the ball rolling. What are you going to be looking for? Maybe they work on the deal and they actually sign it after this season once you kind of see how all the pieces sort of fit together. But I think if Joe Douglas hits on the quarterback, which would be Aaron Rodgers, I think you owe it to him to bring him back. I mean, we just had one of the most historic drafts of all time last year. The guy's absolutely crushing it. Peter F. drops in, says, please don't get OBJ. We don't want or need him. I understand the concern. Tommy Boy says, I'm ready to give up my firstborn for Rodgers. Dude, we're all like chomping at the bit. I love it. I love it. Come on, AA Ron. Let's get some news here. Yeah, Brandy says vet minimum for Mercedes Lewis, probably. Garrett says OBJ is greater than Elijah Moore. I think that's probably true, but I think the upside of Elijah Moore is what people are so attracted to, and his price tag. His price tag is dirt cheap right now. I'd rather get a highly motivated Moore that wants to get a monster contract like his buddy DK Metcalf, like his buddy AJ Brown. Like, for me, Odell, he's highly motivated, but he's injured a lot. The injury concerns me the most with Odell. Josina Anderson just said the Jets don't plan on trading Elijah Moore. Ah, good. Okay, that makes me feel good. I don't want to see Elijah Moore go. Satchel says, since Lamar is saying he wants 133 over 3 years fully guaranteed, is it worth pivoting to him instead of Rodgers? Cap hit is probably comparable with this wish list. No, because what Lamar is saying is he was offered 3 years, $133 million fully guaranteed without an agent. He's saying, oh, I need an agent, but I was able to negotiate $133 million fully guaranteed. Like, you guys don't know what you're talking about. So I don't think that's the actual cost to get Lamar because the Ravens will wind up signing him to that kind of deal if we were to offer that. Now, as far as the wish list and pivoting to Lamar, I don't think you pivot to Lamar. I don't think you do it. I think you kind of sit back and wait. I think there's plenty of time. Go all in with Rodgers. No one's going to be trading for Lamar right now anyway. Citybert drops in. Says, we draw a line with AR at John Kuhn. But wouldn't it be fun to say Kuhn in the stadium there? Citybird says, if we say we're not trading Elijah Moore, then we are. Yeah, it's like Elijah Moore is going to be a lifetime Jet, just like Sam Darnold, just like Jamal Adams. I don't believe anything this time of year. Or I believe everything and we talk about it. One or the other. Robbie says, Ryan, is OBJ's personality going to be good with the Jets' current team? That's my biggest concern. I shouldn't say biggest concern. My biggest concern is the injury concern. I think Rodgers could probably take Odell and keep him in check. I would imagine you sign Odell to a contract where it's heavily incentive-laden, so that way if he performs well, he does well. And then if he winds up going absolutely bonkers and crazy, then you can move off of him so it's not too explosive. You guys are saying Rodgers tweet. Dean, is there actually a Rodgers tweet? If not, you guys can shadow ban Dean. I'm not about that fake stuff, so by all means, boot him. If we say we're not trading Elijah Moore, then we are. I think that's possible. Thomas drops in with super chat. No comment attached to it. All right, Dean, you're going to get a little timeout action right now. That tweet that you're referring to was yesterday's tweet. It has nothing to do with today. I'm going to put you on ice for a little bit. You can come back in after that. Make sure you check your timestamps, boys and girls. Jerry Kelly. Who is Jerry Kelly? Husband, father, master juggler, and golf career. Aaron Rodgers liked a tweet from him that says we need to play again. Occasional caddy. Hey, Rodgers, you want to play some golf? I got you. Don't you worry. I beat Tigo by a second. Haha. Just imagine OBJ and Sauce at practice. Oh, man, them duking it out. Training camp's going to be a friggin' blast with some of these characters. I'm all about it. Brandon says, is this all Woody wanting Aaron Rodgers? I feel like at this point, Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh want to pivot and go for another quarterback so they can make other moves. Nope, I don't. I think they're all on board. Maybe while Carr was in the building, I could see a situation where Saleh wanted the maybe more stable personality. You knew someone that could be here for a little bit longer. The personality maybe syncs up with the culture you're trying to develop. But I would say Douglas and Woody were probably both on the Aaron Rodgers train, and I'm sure Robert Saleh just wants the best quarterback possible. And you're going to be hard pressed to find someone better than Aaron Rodgers at the quarterback position available to you. Let's see, Thomas, did you wind up having another question in there? Let's see. There it is. Okay, let me pull it up. All right. So Thomas said, if we get Rodgers while you are live, can you take off your shirt and run around the room shouting Jets, 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 Jets? I'm not taking my shirt off. That's how you wind up on, like, you know, fail videos and stuff like that. But I'm going to be all jazzed up if we sign him. Yeah, Nate Herbig. So signs a 2-year, $8 million deal, $4 million a year for Nate Herbig. Interesting. We must not have even negotiated with him. Citybert says, no to tackle at 13. Seems like they all need They all need a year or two to get adjusted. Agree with the trade back if a deal is good. Yeah, that's interesting, right? Like, how much do you want to bring in someone that may not be hitting their stride in your Super Bowl window? Like, I could definitely see a trade down for a safety, because I feel like safety, if you get the top one, is probably going to be able to have an immediate impact, where tackle, you're hoping for the long-term impact. I don't know. I have a hard time not going tackle at the top of the draft. Because you are one injury away from a Mekhi Becton, who's been injury-prone, one injury away from a 38-year-old Dwayne Brown. Like, for me, I'm taking the tackle even with some of the concerns at maybe developing them. Tigo says, I'm planning to run around my neighborhood with a bottle of champagne. Might record it. I'd watch it. OBJ tweeted about Elijah Moore. Also, what's the move at center? Ben Jones, the center from the Titans, makes a ton of sense. The Jets have their former offensive line coach here for us. So I would like to see a veteran move. So what's going on with Elijah Moore? You guys talking about stuff? Has he liked anything? I don't think so. I haven't seen anything tweeted out about OBJ. So Jack, if you have something that OBJ tweeted, let me know, because I'll pull it up and put it on screen. Zachary comes in with a super chat. Thank you, Zachary. First time super chatter too. Much appreciated. You get a Jets chant. Why not? Do you think we will trade for the free agents Rodgers wants before Rodgers or after Rodgers? I think it's before Rodgers, and I don't think you don't have to trade for any of these guys. They're all free agents. So I think Cobb and Lazard make the most sense. I think Odell leaves me questioning a lot. Mercedes Lewis feels like just like a, sure, we'll add him in here. Maybe he takes Yeboah's spot or something like that if you're carrying 4 tight ends. Or you move Ruckert to fullback. I'd like to see that. Matt drops in, says, Ryan, yesterday after your stream, I hopped over to Matt's, and when the Trey Wingo tweet was going viral, everyone was just asking about you going wild at your meeting. I got tagged in so many tweets and like comments and stuff. They're like, oh my God, where's Ryan? Check on him. He's in a meeting right now. I told I led the whole meeting, and I was like, hey, I just want you guys to know, if Aaron Rodgers signs or gets traded, I'm going to start discount double checking all over you guys. And I apologize for my outburst. I wore my jersey to my meeting. I had my Jets sweatshirt on in there. I don't care if I had to look professional. Professionalism is not for free agency and tampering period window. Sorry. Ricky says, Ryan, that's 2 free agents. Jets not getting Brendel or Donovan Wilson. Both re-signed today. Damn. Yeah, I still think Ben Jones, the center from the Titans, that feels like the move you'd wind up making. I don't know if maybe they're waiting for Ryan Kelly to get cut, and maybe they like him too. I haven't seen him get cut or released. I know they were talking about it, so if he is available, maybe that's a direction they wind up going. Flatty P says, Ryan, I'm a first-class member, but I wasn't on the end screen video yesterday. Yes, because I just added it. So you're actually on the end screen video from the stream just before this. But I added you this morning. So you'll see it at the end of this one, plus last one. I got caught last night, last second, and I wasn't able to add it to the call-in show. But you are on there now, along with a few other guys. We have a few, I think we added like 4 or 5 first-class members yesterday. So thank you. I didn't forget about you. Maria, overrated like yourself. What are you guys talking about in there? You be nice to Maria. Jason says, how likely is it that we officially get Rodgers' resolution by the end of the day tomorrow? I'm hoping, oh man, today's Talking Jets Day. Dude, my days are all jacked up. I hope we get it today. I hope Aaron Rodgers breaks the news at night, like 8:30, after we're all live and we start losing our damn cool. That's what I want to have happen. That would make me nuts. Indy Jets fan, you're a first-class member. I added you to that as well. I have a few guys that I added to the back half of this. Wicked Insanity. What did I miss? I just woke up. Look, right here. Rodgers has provided wish list. Justin comes in with the super chat, says, Evan Brown is a center the Jets could be in on. He can play center and guard, so Joe Douglas would love him. Plus, he's only 26 years old. All right. Let's look up a little Evan Brown action. What's he got going on? I'll be honest, I don't know anything about him. So they have him listed as a right guard right now. He's the center for the Lions. 27 years old is how old he'll be in this new calendar year. And last year, he valued out as a $3 million player, but he reached as high as like $11 million on the over the cap threshold. So he might be able to be had for like a $6 or $7 million cap hit. I wouldn't mind looking at that. Positional flexibility is huge. I just feel like the connection with our offensive line coach, with Ben Jones, feels like it might be a little stronger than someone from the Lions here. Let me go over to Spot Track, see if they have a predicted contract for him. Evan Brown. Oh, okay. So Evan Brown, they're predicting a market value of $10.9 million. $10.8 million. 3 years, $32 million. All right, I guess that's in the wheelhouse. Center or guard, maybe? Interesting. I wouldn't hate it. It's a little more than I want to spend right there. But if you're using him as a center, $10 million is exactly what you wound up losing from Connor McGovern. So I guess you just kind of slide his money over. I wouldn't hate that. Thomas drops in with the super chat, says, if we get Rodgers, who do you think will be the front runners for the AFC East? What's your rankings without bias involved? Well, it's hard for me not to have bias when I have green lights and a big Jet logo and the Jet shirt on, and it's called Jets Talk 24/7. But I'll try to be as, objective as I can be. I think going into the season, Jet fans should feel like we can win the AFC East. I think until we prove we can win the AFC East, we should be looked at as no better than the second place team. I think you say the Bills, who have won the East the last few years, should be the perennial top dog until proven otherwise. Then I think the Jets and Miami are interchangeable. I think most people would probably pick the Jets over Miami because of the health of Tua. And I think even Miami fans, if they're being a little honest, would probably say, the health of Tua, if he stays healthy the whole year, we could see ourselves above both the Bills and the Jets. But if you are worried about that injury fluctuation with Tua, I think most people would say they'd lean Jets as, one of the top two teams with the Bills, then the Dolphins. And then I think everyone's probably putting the Patriots at fourth in the division, which I love. I absolutely love that. Big Frank. Strong feeling still that he will be a Jet. It is not done yet. Still working through some things. Green Bay still needs official word from Rodgers. Some players have been frustrated about the process. Sorry. Relax. Fans are stressing, but I don't think anyone else is stressing too much. I mean, maybe the players are like, man, we really hope we get him. How many players were really bummed that, Jimmy G got signed away? I think more players were probably upset with Mike White going somewhere else. I don't think we have to worry. Tigo says, hey, chat, no shenanigans. I need to put the baby down for a nap. There goes my moderator. Rodgers' Jets contract was leaked on Twitter. Really? Is that actually something that's going on right now? I haven't seen anything to imply that, but I'd love to see it if possible. That'd be cool. I can't imagine anything's being leaked out with how everything's been going so far. Tommy P says, I no longer need Rodgers' confirmation. Just the Jets going up and down the aisles with his shopping list is good enough for me. Yeah, I'm a little more confident now that we're getting all the pieces that he wants us to bring in, because now it feels like he's definitely coming. I don't think he would tell those guys, hey, why don't you guys move to New Jersey and sign over there, and then I'm going to go retire. Yeah, this is about as good as it gets. Nando says, Miami fans think they are better than us. I know tons of them. They think we can't compete with them. Yeah, I think that's where they're at. But I think if you're being honest, if they're being honest, they're concerned about Tua's health. And how confident are you in that team once Tua goes down? Because you got an injury-prone Mike White as your backup. And, I like me some Mike White. But, Miami's in a really rough spot with the quarterback position. They might not have a healthy quarterback all season again. That is entirely possible that could happen. I have found that the Miami fans tend to be a little more confident than, some other teams. Maybe they think, Aaron Rodgers, I'm sure they're going to lean on the side of Aaron Rodgers is washed. We're going to be better than them. We have a younger, hungrier team. And then to that, I'd just say, well, our defense is going to shut you down. Tyreek Hill couldn't do anything against us. Jalen Waddle, too. I'm not worried about the Dolphins. I think they can be a good team, but I'm not worried. Jacob says, diehard Jet fan from Kentucky, patiently waiting. Welcome aboard, Jacob. What's going on in Kentucky out there? Matt Connolly, you can't rely totally on Tua. Yeah, I agree. OK83, oh my God, Trey Wingo deleted the tweet from yesterday. Did he actually? Is that? I don't think so. I think you're lying to me. I can't see Wingo taking that down. Nah, tweet's still there. Fake news. Tigo, send OK to the Shadow Realm. No fake news. A challenger approaches. Daily Dukes. I am good with Rodgers, Lazard. Don't need Cobb or Lewis. We have plenty of wide receivers and tight ends. Yeah, I don't particularly want Mercedes Lewis or Randall Cobb. Neither one of those really, raises my interest. Odell has me excited, but I don't really see Odell as the, I don't want to give him a lot of money. As long as it's incentive laden, I don't mind. Citybert says, they said it's contract number related and can't be resolved until the 17th. Is that true, Ryan? I mean, I don't think so, unless they're trying to... Oh, what they could be waiting on is the Packers may be willing to eat money, but may not be able to eat that money until the 17th. Maybe that's what's going on. Now, I know the 60 million or 58 million that people have been talking about, that 17th deadline, there's not a cap hit issue with the New York Jets because it's assumed that deal is exercised, or that option is exercised for cap purposes. So that way other players can sign and everything. It's really once you decline it is when the big cap hit hits. Maybe they can't rework that number in a contract until that date, or the Packers can't eat any money until that date. That seems weird. But I don't think it's like the Jets holding up a contract because they don't have $60 million in cap space, because the Packers don't have $60 million in cap space. That's not something that would be hurting them. Oh, Darren Waller to the Giants. Wow. Good move. I like that. That's a good move for them. Did they see how much money? Tigo's wondering if Davante Adams is available. If Davante Adams is available, you're definitely giving up pick 13. I am scared shitless that we don't have a tackle, though. That's a big concern for me. Because I don't see how you get Davante Adams without giving up number 1 or number 13. Hi, Lost Boy says, okay, Jets, we better get to the conference championship now that after what the Giants are building. Hey, I just want to get to the playoffs. I don't have to be absolutely crazy. Peter F., check your mentions on Twitter. Contract leak. All right, let's see. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, I saw that. That was on the call-in show last night. That's pretty funny. Is the the piece of paper drawn with the contract negotiations. Love it. C. Watson says Packers and Rodgers are going to restructure his contract for the Jets. So maybe they can't restructure it until that 17th mark because of that bonus. I know the cap hit's not the issue. Jordan says, I understand the need for Rodgers, but with his wish list, is it smart to give this much control to one player, especially if those players take up spots Douglas wanted to fill with other guys? I think it's important because the quarterback's the most important part of the whole equation. So getting him here could elevate other guys outside of just like the players that he wants here. I think Randall Cobb and Lazard do fit needs and fill in spots on our roster that we would have needed anyway. So getting guys that your new franchise new quarterback's going to be comfortable with is, makes perfect sense. Mercedes Lewis does concern me because I like our tight ends, and Conklin and Uzoma just restructured. They're here for the next 2 years. So does that mean Ruckert's not getting touches? I don't know. I'm probably lukewarm on that signing. Ben, welcome aboard. Hit that like button. And then OBJ, I feel like, has got to be an incentive-laden deal. That one scares me because of his health. Wow. So it only took a third-round pick to get Darren Waller. Interesting. Pick 100. That's a good move. Darren Waller is one of the best tight ends in the game. I'm a fan of that for the Giants. Good for them. Gary says, I don't get this. Our defense... We have 2 defensive tackles under contract. Smart is 1. So we have 1 defensive tackle, no free safety still, need linebackers, and may need DNs to keep up rotation depending if they need to cut someone because they don't have any room. We aren't getting 15 wide receivers. Holy cow. We need bodies on this team. Well, yeah, but Calais Campbell, if you can get him for $2 million, that's a Pro Bowl caliber defensive tackle to pair next to Quinnen Williams. It's going to be hungry looking for a ring. That's not going to cost you a whole lot. We already have Whitehead, and we traded for a cheap contract in Chuck Clark, so we have our 2 safeties. I think the Jets are going to look to draft a safety in the draft, but you're just not. You're holding off until you see who falls to you. As far as linebackers, you re-signed Quincy. You have you have Mosley under contract. You have Nasser-Dean and Sherwood as backups. So you're looking for one more starter to replace Quan Alexander. I do think the Jets look the draft for that because they're going to want a younger guy with a controllable contract. And as far as DNs, keeping up our rotation, how many DNs do you possibly want? We have right now, Carl Lawson is still under contract. I would be surprised if he stayed that way without restructuring his deal. But I would say you have John Franklin Myers, you have Jermaine Johnson, you have Michael Clemens, you have Bryce Huff. That's 4 right there, not including Carl Lawson. How many guys do you need to rotate? I mean, you got to think we'll bring in some guys that are undrafted free agents for depth pieces, things of that nature. But the Jets are loaded. We're 4 deep on the D end rotation. And D tackle wise, if John Franklin Myers can slot over as well, then you got John Franklin Myers, Quinnen Williams, and Tanzel Smart. In addition to maybe Calais Campbell. Ends Dio! Hit that like button. Vladdy P says, Waller is always hurt. Guys, he's awesome, but can't stay healthy. Yeah, that's been the big knock on him. If he's on the field, he's one of the best tight ends of the game. But he's not always on the field. So a 3rd-round pick for that kind of talent, that's pretty cool. I think it is a good move for them. I don't know what his contract is. Or if they had to rework his contract in the deal. C. Watson says, Lewis is a great run blocker. I thought Conklin and Uzama did a fine job run blocking. Mercedes Lewis might just provide some kind of depth, I guess. I don't know. LOL, Ryan, go read the Pete Prisco tweet. All right, let's see. Who's that? If you followed the Packers, you would know that he most definitely would not want Greg Jennings to come to the Jets. He says it was a joke. I know the history. Garrett Wilson, hearing the Rodgers wish list, should puke. Well, that's stupid. Breece Hall coming off a knee injury. Wonder if Rodgers can dial up Eddie Lacy. So he's just going off on the whole thing. Why are we acting like Mercedes Lewis isn't still a pretty good at his role? Pete Briscoe says he is one-dimensional. He also says Rodgers telling the Jets who he wants is vintage. Randall Cobb, Mercedes Lewis, why not Greg Jennings, Jordy Nelson? Yeah. I see it. Seems like he's on a little bit of a warpath there. Gary says they're both in the box safeties. We were talking about Whitehead and Chuck Clark. You can't put them both on the field at the same time. How many did we have last year? JFM isn't a run stopper. No, I know JFM's not a run stopper, but you're not always going to be stopping the run as a defensive tackle. If you're in 3rd and long, why would you have a run-stuffing defensive tackle in there? That doesn't make any sense. You're going to have JFM kick inside in that sort of situation and rush the passer. You do need a run-stuffing defensive tackle, but you can get that in the draft. You can sign Calais Campbell for that, which I think makes a ton of sense. But as far as the safeties, Chuck Clark plays free safety and strong safety. He's played both frequently. The Jets' safeties are flipping back and forth. That gives them the positional flexibility. So Whitehead, while he is more of a strong safety, is definitely a, I think he's more likely to be gone because we're going to save that $7.25 million cap hit, and we're going to draft a more traditional free safety this year. And I think that's how it winds up working out. Willie Law! Hit that like button. Jesse says, I want Quinnen Williams' deal to get done. He is a huge piece on the other side of the ball. So do I. I think it's you've seen the you've seen the market, right, for what it's going to cost to sign a defensive tackle. And as long as Quinnen's not trying to rake us over the coals, I think he should get his money right now. Joe Pekulik says, hey, Ryan, think center is a huge need here. You can move down a few picks and get John Michael Schmitz. That would give us a center for a decade. Yeah, I do like that option. I would say I like a few other centers as well. I like Luke Weipler. I like Ricky Stromberg. I like the kid Patterson from Notre Dame. There's like one or two other guys too that I'm just blanking on the names that you could wind up drafting. So I like John Michael Schmitz. If you trade down and you can get him on a 5-year, rookie contract, I'm fine with overdrafting him, considering people are thinking of him in the 2nd round. I like the 1st round 5-year contract for our center. Eddie says, wouldn't put too much into Deanna's tweet. These NFL reporters are making shit up at this point. See sources. So I think they're putting 2 and 2 together. I think Cobb and Lazard make the most sense. Lazard, those were both Cobb, Lazard, and Mercedes Lewis. Those 3 were mentioned by Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show as players he wants to play with. So I don't think that's necessarily like a shot in the dark. I don't know if they know Rodgers has handed him that list. And I think there's a little speculation on the OBJ part of things because of the rumors of OBJ possibly going to Green Bay last year. Chaos Theory says, we sign all or most on that wish list, and then he retires, laugh my ass off. All the Rodgers people would be like, was still worth trying to get him. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to try and get these guys to move across the country and then bail on them. That would be a pretty shitty thing to do. He's not Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels hires a whole coaching staff. They all move to Indianapolis, and then he says, oh, no, I'm going to stay in Green Bay. Screws up everyone else's life. Ali, how we feeling? I'm feeling better than yesterday. We still don't have any news on this Aaron Rodgers front, aside from speculation, but it's making me feel better that we're seeing these wish lists and things of that nature. Snowball says, wouldn't this list have been provided when they met in Cali? I would think so, unless it was purely just like a, let's have a conversation, let's get to know one another. I think that's possible. Kaiser says, if we're signing all these wide receivers for Rodgers, someone's got to go. We need draft picks and cap space for Quinnen also. Yeah, I think if the Jets make the determination that they don't feel like they want to extend more beyond his rookie contract, then I think he might become expendable. But I would think Denzel Mims and Corey Davis are the two that are much more expendable than Elijah Moore. And that's because Corey Davis obviously saves you the $10.5 million. I think most of us don't see him on this team next year. Denzel Mims, while we're bullish on him and we do want to see him perform with Nathaniel Hackett, he also seems like someone that we could move on from because you're not necessarily expecting a whole crazy ton from him. His more projection and upside than anything else. I would prefer to hold on to Elijah Moore, but we'll see. Texas says, don't want OBJ on an incentive-laden deal. He starts not getting targets, and he will go crazy and be a problem because he won't get paid on top of being competitive. Well, then you cut him. If he's got an incentive-based deal and he's upset that he's not getting his targets and not getting paid and he's a headache, cut his ass all day. That's how you do it. Angel says, Mike Evans is a stud. Of course, Maria would say he stinks. Oh, man, Maria, you're pissing off some people in the chat today. That's the second one I've seen. Be nice to Maria. It's all right. I love me some Mike Evans, though. So if she's off on him, I think she's wrong. Jonathan Kennedy. Ken Alley. Wingo is a personality for a sportsbook. He's trying to drive betting odds. Do you think that that he doesn't know that Rodgers is coming here? I think the betting odds is that Rodgers is coming here. That's why the Super Bowl odds have changed. Sorla says, do we exercise Zach's fifth-year option when Rodgers comes? So we have a full year to decide on that. You don't have to decide on Zach Wilson's fifth-year option until after the draft next year. So the real answer that you're going to get is we're still evaluating. There's no reason to make any sort of rash decision right now. Now, that being said, if you have Aaron Rodgers and he is coming back for a second year, I think there's something to be said for exercising Zach's fifth-year option, depending on what that number is. Because remember, Zach's going to get the lowest of all fifth-year options because he's not going to hit the playing time threshold needed. You need to play at least 50% of your snaps to get these next tier up. There's 4 different fifth-year options, and Zach's going to get the lowest one. Mekhi Becton's going to get the lowest one, too, if they wanted to exercise it. I just don't know if they trust Mekhi to stay healthy. But if Zach's fifth-year option winds up being like $20, $25 million, the Jets should exercise that and then get 2 full years from Rodgers, and then just, look, we're going to see if Zach's the guy. 2025, for better or worse, we're going to see if Zach's the guy. If he's not the guy, we're going to get a bad draft pick. We're going to have a high draft pick in a really good draft in 2026, who also happens to have Arch Manning coming out in it. Not saying that that's what you're planning for, but I think there's a realistic possibility the Jets exercise his fifth-year option if they like what they've seen this year. If they see some growth, you could exercise it after the draft next year. Justin Thomas says, Pat just said, let's break some news after the break. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Come on. Let's go. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, Wingo was at ESPN. Yeah, see, Tony G's laughing. $25 million for Zach Wilson. That sounds crazy. But remember, in 2025, that's 3 years from now. That could be what backup quarterbacks are getting. Not necessarily backup, but, again, you're making this decision after this year. If Zach looks like he shit the bed, there's no reason to exercise his fifth-year option, and then you roll into the following year, and then if Rodgers doesn't look good, maybe you play a little Zach. If not, if you decide you're not exercising Zach's fifth-year option next year, you may draft a quarterback to sit behind Rodgers for next year. And see that all play out. But I wouldn't say definitively that there's nothing going on with the fifth-year option with Zach. I think there's a possibility, especially after seeing what Daniel Jones just got. Like, would you rather be held over a barrel by Zach Wilson or pay him $25 million in a year that you're eating dead cap for Rodgers anyway? Like, you've already invested money into it. Like, I can see a situation where they're just like, yeah, let's just see what happens with Zach. Now, if the team's like balling out and Zach doesn't look like he can even hold water, you're not going to exercise that option. Tigo said, that's what I said. Arch Manning wearing Gotham green. Yeah, right? It's possible. 2026, right? If Zach shits the bed, you're going to have a really high pick in 2026. I kind of like the idea of rolling on that high upside option. It might work out spectacularly bad, but again, if you're not thinking you're going to be competitive that year because of the dead cap hits and maybe you want to move some money into that year, I'm okay with it. Again, you have a year to decide on it. Kaiser says, are we able to use a first-round tender on anyone? Bryce Huff was the only one, but we didn't use the first-round tender. We used the second-round tender on him. We have a few other restricted free agents, but no one that you'd want to slap a first-round tender on. Famous J says, Randall Cobb is done. Jets already have a solid tight end group, and OBJ is one too many head cases the Jets need. Lazard is only worthy asset. Come on, A-Rod. Stop busting our butts. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of where I fall. Way too early, but can you imagine Arch Manning on the Jets? Yeah, right? Like, why not? Like, it's not your plan, but if your plan is Rodgers for 2 years, see what Zach is. Hopefully he learned a lot under Rodgers. And then the worst case scenario, if Zach doesn't work out, you have a loaded roster with a high draft pick to go get a young quarterback. I don't see the downside aside from like purely losing $25 million in salary cap space. Like that will suck. But remember, the salary cap space is going to shoot up these next few years. And that's going to be money that, in 2025, all our guys should be getting money in 2026. But I think, Zach, we're going to have a full year to decide. You don't have to make a decision until after the draft next year. Southern Jet, if you draft a quarterback, then you are stuck because you can't go chips in for a Super Bowl with Rodgers and Zach back up. We have to get a veteran to back up Rodgers. Well, I don't mean draft. Sorry, I don't want to draft a. I don't want to draft a quarterback this year. I'm saying next year, before you have to exercise Zach's fifth-year option. Ooh, they're talking. Let's see what McAfee's talking about. I'm not sure what they're talking about over there, but I'll keep an ear on it. Hakeem Prince, how many free agents did we miss out on waiting for Aaron? Hakeem, how many do you think we did miss out on? I want to hear from you. My opinion, I don't think we missed out on any. I don't think the Jets had players that were signed away from them already. I think the players they're looking at are Rodgers' wish list plus our own guys. So maybe there's a situation where you say, oh, well, maybe we could have looked at, talking to McGovern and he signed elsewhere. I don't think that's the case because when McGovern wanted to talk contract extensions, the Jets didn't want to do it. So who else did the Jets miss out on that was signed? I don't think the Jets have missed out on anyone yet. That's so weird. My last comment on Green Bay's show was about Arch Manning. Guys, I get the excitement for Arch Manning. But it can't be part of a plan. It's just like a pleasant potential circumstance, maybe. God, imagine if another Manning screwed us. Sports Frenzy said, screw Rodgers. He's trying to replace our entire team. Good on DJ Reed for calling out the BS. Ooh, let's see what DJ Reed said. DJ Reed. So I don't see anything there. He says, love seeing guys get paid. We worked for this our whole life. We have to take a trip to San Fran soon. I don't know who he was talking about there. As far as likes go... You can look at DJ Reed's last like. Nothing football related, but pretty funny. Trust how your body feels. Walking on eggshells usually means walking away. Fight or flight response usually means avoiding them. Bad energy, bullshit, Weird vibes and sneaky shit usually means keeping your distance. Feet pointing toward the exit usually means it's time to leave. That was a liked tweet by someone else as well. But yeah, the DJ Reed's last liked tweet is pretty funny. I'll let you guys go over to it because I can't show that on screen. What breaks first? Lazard or Rodgers trade? It could happen all at once. I could see like the Jets are trading for Aaron Rodgers, or there's a contract in place for Alan Lazard, assuming Rodgers accepts the trade. Like it could be one of those wombo combo type stuff. You guys will have to let me know when you look at DJ Reed's tweet. See if there's see what you guys' response is. Okay. So Darth Nick says DJ Reed deleted his tweet. He said he liked our wide receivers. Yeah, I think that's fine. But I think someone probably got in his ear and was like, hey, Reed, shut up. We need the quarterback first. Hakeem says, I would have liked Jimmy Ward, find a way to get rid of CJ Mosley and his contract, and go get Tremaine Edmonds. Tremaine Edmonds signed with the Bears, didn't he? I think he just signed a monster contract with them. Ooh! Jets Super Bowl odds are at plus 1,500 now. It was plus 1,600 yesterday. I don't think I realized Waller was that old. 31 years old. Huh. Wild Wave says, dude is basically the same thing. Lazard replaces Corey. Cobb replaces Barrios. I don't see a problem here. Yeah, no, I agree. I think those are the easiest two players to add without any kind of issue. You're not swapping out any players of, consequence. Like maybe Reed is having Corey Davis's back a little bit, and then he'll be like, hey, I'm excited for whoever's here. But I don't think anyone's going to lose sleep over losing Corey Davis and Braxton Berrios for Cobb and Lazard. Mercedes Lewis and OBJ, though, that might be interesting. One of our biggest needs on draft night is a young stud center. Yeah, I agree. We've been wanting to see that happen for the longest time. We're spoiled. We had Mangold and we had Mawai. And we just want to have that other next big stud. Yeah, Snoopy says Edmonds signed 4 years, $72 million with the Bears. Angel says rework Mosley's contract. I would like to see that. Tigo was talking on here before saying maybe we extend Mosley, and it's like because he has 2 void years right now, maybe you convert those void years into contract years and you spread out some money around. I wouldn't mind it. Sports Frenzy says, terrible way to run a franchise. I would argue the last 60 years is a terrible way to run a franchise, and I'm more than happy with trying to switch it up this time. DJ's last tweet is entertaining. That's a good way to put it. It's I kind of was caught off guard. I was not expecting that. It was pretty funny. So worried we get Rodgers pieces only to have him be like, yeah, nah, I'm not good. Thanks. I'm good. Thanks. I don't think Rodgers is the kind of person that will get guys to move across country, sign a contract, and then bail on him. Adrian Archer, hit that like button. Welcome aboard. So Kevin says, didn't we rework Mosley's contract last year? Yes, we did, but his cap hits are astronomical. So if there's another way to restructure it or give him a new contract that helps eliminate some of the financial liability, then maybe you could do that. I don't know how you get it done. Alex Robson says, respectfully, DJ can shut up. This is about winning football games, and when Rodgers gets his guys in, nobody will be complaining. Stop being childish and let's go win some goddamn football games. I agree. No reason to nitpick. Tony B says, anytime a guy wants to get paid $59 million and bring in his washed up friends with him, he doesn't care about winning. I'd guess I'd pull that move if I'd mentally checked out, but want to get paid. I don't know. I mean, Lazard's on the upswing. He had more receptions than he's ever had last year with Rodgers, and I think you could see it, at least hold steady, if not go higher. Randall Cobb, I don't see that as a downside as much as it is like a comfortable replacement for Berrios. Mercedes Lewis, as long as it doesn't displace any of the other 3 tight ends we have on the roster, like if Rucker goes to fullback, who cares about Mercedes Lewis? You need some backup help anyway, and he could help block. OBJ is the piece I'm a little concerned about. How much is he going to cost? Because I don't want to guarantee him a bunch of money. Not when he's been hurt a lot. Scott Fisher, our wide receivers already like that snooze, is what he had said. Our wide receivers already like that. So we already have wide receivers. I guess he's saying like Elijah Moore could be like OBJ or Garrett Wilson could be like that. And then our receivers at tight end could be like Mercedes Lewis. And we don't need to add Cobb and Lazard. I think it's more so a guy just supporting his current teammates more so than him saying he doesn't want them. Do you think by the end of CJ time with the Jets, he will be in the Ring of Honor? If we win a Super Bowl with CJ on the roster, I think it's possible. I don't know if he's done enough as a Jet for me to want to put him in there. Like, for me, David Harris should be in there before him, but I don't necessarily think David Harris should be in the Ring of Honor. When I think CJ Mosley, I still think of him as a Raven more so than I think of him as a Jet. And for me, I think that's more indicative of who you'd want in your Ring of Honor. And I like CJ too. I mean, if he takes less money and wants to stay here long term over the next few years, like if he's here 3-4 more years, I think you could make an argument for it. Yeah, Dirty Walt, or Dirty Old Jet fan Walt, call you Dirty Walt, says 2 torn ACLs on the same leg. No thanks for OBJ. Yeah, I mean, as long as if they wanted to bring him in, it would have to be incentive laden. Like it's got to be based on playing time. It's got to be based on performance. And I don't want any issues in terms of, hey, you start mouthing off, I want to cut your ass and you're gone. You don't get anything. That's what I would prefer. And I think OBJ realizes like, hey, this is a good opportunity. If I ball out with Aaron Rodgers, I'm going to get paid next year. Like I think Odell would be a 1-year prove-it deal. I don't think he's signing for 2. Hakeem Prince says, I see a lot of Jamal Williams talk. Are we giving up on Michael Carter? No. So the rationale behind Jamal Williams right now is Breece Hall may not be able to start the season. There's a situation where the Jets may want to put him on IR for like 4 weeks to let him rehab that knee and bring him in a little bit slower. So in that situation, right now, you're left with Bam Knight and Michael Carter. So you do need a third running back because Ty Johnson's not under contract. And we did not put the tender on James Robinson. Now, if you want Bam Knight to be your main back, then you just need like a throwaway person for running back 3. If you want Bam Knight to be your kick returner, which I think could be likely, now you're talking about only having Michael Carter because you're not going to have, you can't risk Bam Knight being the only healthy guy, while he's also returning kicks. So I think Bam Knight, Michael Carter, and a Jamal Williams would be awesome. I think that's, with those guys under contract, it's like less than $8 million for your running back room, and you bring in a guy that is incredibly high character. Like Jamal Williams is Michael Carter in a few years. Michael Carter and I think Jamal Williams would get along so well. I just don't know if Jamal Williams wants to take the amount of money that he would have to take to come here when he just had 17 touchdowns with the Lions. I feel like if I were him, I would try to get paid because there's not many, years in line for a running back. Kaiser says Odell is the most unlikely one on that list. Yeah, I think personality-wise, there's a conflict there with Joe Douglas. And maybe he says, hey, we're going to negotiate with Odell. We're going to try and see what's going to go on. But maybe Odell goes to, does a different option because he wants more money or something along those lines. 49ers cornerback Emmanuel Mosley reached an agreement with the Lions today on a 1-year, $6 million deal. The deal was confirmed and negotiated by Drew Rosenhaus and Robert Bailey. Thank you for throwing that in there. Whenever you guys see updates like that, I'll try to throw them up on the screen for you guys. And any of you that are consistent with it, that provide like some good updates, I could use a few more moderators, so I'll plug you in there as that. Matt Curry says, Ryan, what's your reaction if Joe brought back Jamal Adams on the cheap? I would fucking die laughing. Pardon my French, but I would fall out of my damn seat. We got 2 firsts and a third for Jamal Adams. We built a team, and then we brought him back in and won a Super Bowl. That would be funny as hell, but man, I don't want Jamal Adams. I think the way he handled everything on the way out, I hope the next time he zips up his pants, he gets caught in between the zipper. Who sits when Brees comes back? I think you still have 4 running backs. I think it's more likely that, maybe Bam gets used more as a kick returner, and then you have Michael Carter, Brees Hall, and then a Jamal Williams in that sort of situation. I don't see Jamal Williams as wanting to come here because of how well he did with the Lions last year. If he wants to, and he wants to win a ring, then I don't know if there's going to be any issue. I could see him getting more touches than Carter, too. Carter kind of fell off a little bit for me last year, but some of that could have been the quarterback uncertainty. It could have been the offensive line. There was a lot of stuff going on last year. I love Michael Carter. He's the voice. Vladdy P says, Brian Cashman 2016 vibes with that one. Yeah, how much money are we throwing around? It's like Yankees baseball. Tin Star, I know that the Jets have a love fest with Mosley, but our defense needs more speed. It's time for Sherwood to take over. Let me see what CJ Mosley's contract is. Are we able to get out of it after this year? Per sources, the Chiefs and Adam Thielen have discussed a potential deal, but plenty of other suitors are interested, but Kansas City is a real team to watch. So Kansas City's in on Thielen. I get the feeling Thielen's not on our radar as much as we would want. Yeah, with CJ Mosley, he's got no more guaranteed money left. So I could see a situation where he wants to restructure and get guaranteed money. We definitely need speed. I don't know. He's due $17 million each of the next 2 years, but his cap hits $21.5. So if you were to cut him pre-June 1st, you'd save $6.5 million. And then if you cut him next year, pre-June 1st, would be $11 million. I don't know. I don't find there to be a situation in my mind where I wouldn't want CJ Mosley back. Branko joins the channel. Welcome to the channel, Branko. Drop some JETS in the chat for our newest member. Thank you. Jet Show says, I'm huge on trying to get wide receiver Calvin Ridley over OBJ. Well, that's not going to happen. He was traded to Jacksonville. Chris Romaine says, I can't honestly say I've been here all day during work and have done nothing at work. So you've been here the whole time and haven't done anything at work. Yeah, that's kind of how unproductive I have felt as well. Brandy says expectations versus reality will be a prominent discussion for Jets fans regarding Rodgers. Winning a Super Bowl is always the answer, but what is a reasonable outcome this year? I think you have to get playoffs if you get Rodgers, and I think at the very least you have to win a playoff game if you're a wild card team. I don't think you can go one and done and feel like today, like this was a successful season. If you get bounced the first round of the playoffs, that would be an issue. What are they talking about over there? Listen to Pat McAfee and stuff. Tigo says, go look at U Stadium's tweet. Let's take a look. Let's see what U Stadium's got going on. OBJ back to New York. So I guess Billy posted, whoever Billy is it Stacks? Is that like Harrison? I'm not sure who that is. Posted, yo, OBJ, the Jets with eyes, cold face, green heart, with a picture of Robert Saleh, or a gif of Robert Saleh getting all amped up. And then Odell commented back on that with eyeballs. So U Stadium says OBJ back to New York, possibly. That's exciting. Seems like a bunch of chaos. Man, would it be interesting. Justin Thomas says Browns being linked to Elijah Moore. Yeah, we saw that report 2 days ago. I actually didn't catch it till this morning, but Elijah Moore possibly being courted to the Browns would be interesting. Did you guys see this Tyreek Hill running the 60-yard dash or 60-meter dash? He's versing like, I don't even think those are D1 athletes. He's fast as shit, though. Justin Crazy! What's up, dude? Justin says, when is Rodgers coming on the Pat McAfee show? So we don't know if he's going to be on it. It doesn't seem like he's going to be on it. There hasn't been any news that he's going to be on it. But it's one of those situations where if Aaron Rodgers is pissed off at Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter and he wanted someone else to break the news, McAfee's show is probably where it would wind up getting done. I don't know. We'll see. Lions of the whatever that word was. Welcome to the channel, dude. Kevin says, can we get any Jets news? My God, why do they always torture us with being so slow? It's a process. It's a process. We'll figure it out. Matt says, with Jimmy Ward signing with Houston for 1 year, $3.25 million, who is your target at safety? Draft, or do we stay on the free agency route? Adrian Amos, the free agent from the Packers, who Joe Douglas drafted when he was over in Chicago, is someone I would take a look at. I don't know if he fits our defense at all or if they'd even want to bring him in, but he's someone that maybe you keep an eye on. Outside of that, I would hold on to Whitehead until after the draft. If you draft his replacement, then you cut Whitehead. If you don't draft his replacement, then you just hold on to him. I don't know if we're going to go... I don't think we go expensive for safety at all. Ryan, what's the likelihood of a team giving up a second-round pick for Huff? I think we did that so that way we can attract that second-round pick. I think we want to get someone to bite on that and retain Carl Lawson. I get the feeling we're not going to cut Carl Lawson until we see what happens with Huff. If no one gives up the second-round pick for Huff, then maybe Lawson's gone. If someone bites on Huff, then maybe we keep Lawson for the 2 years, restructure his contract, drop his cap hit, because the first-round tender, which is what I thought the Jets should have put on Huff, it was like $6 million. So if you can get, let's say, Lawson for 2 years, $6 million a year, you know, because he's due 15 this year and he wants to go for a ring, I could see him taking that money. I heard rumors that he would be willing to possibly restructure his deal since he missed the whole first year with the New York Jets. If that's the case, I love the idea of keeping Carl Lawson. I think he's going to have a big season. I just don't want to lose Huff. That's the part of it. That's all confusion for me. What is Adams thinking? He must have major fear of missing out, seeing all his friends go to the Jets while he's over there with Jimmy G and no Waller. Yeah, man, Devontae Adams has got to be a little frustrated right now, I would think. I can't imagine Jimmy G gets you feeling all warm and fuzzy. I mean, you still got Renfro, still got the draft. See how it goes. Nah. I see, where's Tigo? Saw Tigo just sent someone to the Shadow Realm. I like it. Renfro on his way out. I'm calling it now. Think he is traded sooner rather than later, says Tigo. All right, let's take a look at Renfro's contract. See what that looks like. So Hunter Renfrow is 28 years old. He's got 2 years left on his contract. Doesn't have a crazy ton of guaranteed money. He would be $6.5 million this year and $11 million next year. Actually, no, sorry, he would be $10 million this year. A little over $10 million, probably closer to $12 million. I don't know. Renfro's an interesting option, but I feel like that's only an option if you don't have Elijah Moore and you don't have Cobb. I don't know if I see him coming here at least. Mudviles, what's up, dude? He says, told you, Ryan, that A-Rod won't be on the show. LOL. Pat said it yesterday. Also been watching everyone and freezing my bananas off at work while we got nothing on Rodgers. Please, JD, get it done. Yeah, I don't see anything happening on McAfee today. Seems less likely. This is the 3 o'clock hour, which means they are all but wrapped up over there. So we'll see. We'll answer a few more questions here, and then we'll bounce off. And then we got Talking Jets later on tonight. So that's going to be fun. Oris Diaz says, OBJ always wanted to come back to New York. He's going to get his wish. Yeah, I think he misses the bright lights in the big city. Like when they banned his ass to Cleveland, he was miserable. That sucked for him, I'm sure. He's probably like, oh, this uniform sucks. Ohio, like, is not New York City, so like that in and of itself sucks. I think him going to LA made a ton of sense. I'm shocked they didn't try to, bring... I'm shocked someone out there didn't try to bring him in. I don't know. I guess he always wanted to play with Rodgers, so... Looking forward to it. Let's see what happens. Screw it. Why not? Push all the chips into the center. Aaron says, is it true that Rodgers is going to make his decision at 4 tomorrow? I hope so. That would be cool. I haven't heard that yet. Cheatster says, feels like Rodgers isn't happening today. How long do we have to wait for this? As long as Rodgers wants to make us wait. That's ultimately what it is. Rumor has MetLife Stadium will feature mushroom gardens along the outside of the end zones. Love it. On our new natural grass field. Now that we're getting natural grass. We're getting a new upgraded kind of turf. You see the OBJ tweet. Let's see if he had anything else other than what I just saw. So I think he's only liked things, right? I don't see any OBJ tweet. I've seen the comments about OBJ. Let's see. Maybe it's in the replies section. Yeah, the 1 hour ago one. That's the interesting piece. The eyeballs. Is that Snacks Harrison? Is that who that is? At Snacks? Love it. Oh, he replied to something. Okay, yeah, that's where it was. Justin Thomas says, defensive tackle Puna Ford, defensive tackle Jerry Tillery, linebacker Aziz Al-Shair, safety Adrian Amos, or Julian Love. Interesting. We've talked a little bit about Shazier or Shair or however you say his name. That was Tigo that brought him up, possibly as a linebacker fit. But we were sort of talking about how you may not necessarily need 49ers players anymore. Like, you can just get players that just are good players at this point. Maybe you wind up bringing in like a Bobby Wagner. Go crazy. Why not? Joseph says, thoughts on the Jets closing in on Lazard. Also, back at this again. Yep. Wash, rinse, repeat, boys and girls. I think I'm on 8 days straight streaming. I think so. I think I've streamed every day since last Monday. I'd have to go back and look because I don't actually know. My days are all blending together. I forgot today was Tuesday. We got Talking Jets today. Excited. Anthony says, I feel like OBJ comes back to New York. It's a reunion with the Giants. That would be cool. They need a wide receiver more than the Jets need a wide receiver for sure. Maybe. That would be. I wonder how Giant fans feel about that. Like, do they want Odell back or do they not want Odell back? I feel like Jet fans are probably equally as split as I would imagine Giant fans probably are. Ryan, keep the faith. LOL, it'll happen soon. Let's go ring hunting. I agree. All right, well, it seems like nothing's going on the McAfee show. So I think we wrap this up here. and then we'll plan to do Talking Jets tonight later on. So right now, as it stands, Aaron Rodgers has rumored to have provided the New York Jets a wish list of players whose names include Randall Cobb, Alan Lazard, Mercedes Lewis, and Odell Beckham Jr. Do the Jets wind up folding to this list of demands? Do they get all of them? Do they get some of them? What does it mean for the Jets and Aaron Rodgers moving forward? Don't forget to tune in tonight for Talkin' Jets. We're looking forward to having you there. Jets! Let's go!
I think every single person in this locker room is a competitor at the highest level. So, yeah, when you feel as if your back's against the wall, you never have to feel like you got to do it by yourself.
Unbelievable throw. Under pressure. Sacked by Quentin Williams. Right sideline, Uzama's got it.
You look to your left and your right, you got guys out there with you that our whole point is to help each other.
This one to Mims. That's Corey Davis climbing the ladder.
To be able to go out and lead these guys, just to know how hard these guys work and how important it is to them, and then you get that chance to lead them. Everything that happened that needed to happen for us, it almost felt like kind of like a sign, like get like a second chance almost.
Gets extra pushes, running left.
Maybe a little extra life to breathe in the locker room.
Touchdown Jets.